30. The bodyguards look happy. As long as they count to 30, they can run to their horses and beasts. Are they worried if they have horses and beasts? Think of here, bodyguards can't help looking at Cloud dance. This Miss Yun Jiajiao is so hidden and powerful, but her brain is not easy to use. As long as let them escape this disaster, everything is good. As for her and that waste dragon 3, sooner or later are wanted by the queen, where there is a way to live. When they can't fight back, they will add fuel to the queen. Cloud dance coldly glanced at them, for their mind, how can the bottom of my heart not know, but pretended not to see, turned and yelled at the carriage. Hung Ling, little red snake, I'll call 30, and you can come out to play. Red Ling excited should moya de clatter of, seemed to prepare the next second to jump out. The bodyguards heard that when they saw the big mouth of Hung Ling's tusks coming out of the carriage, they almost peed and their hair stood up. They swore that they would run faster. Cloud dance mouth slightly up, eye-ground sneer dyed with a trace of evil, lengthened the voice to shout the first. 1. The guards were like runaway wild horses, running fast to their horses. Each of them can be sure that in their past life, there was never such a fast one. However, no matter how fast it is, it doesn't work. Cloud dance in their run out but 5 steps away, leisurely cry. 30. As soon as the bodyguards heard 1, they heard Cloud dance shouting 30, everyone's face changed. She played with them. Damn it. However, at this time of them, where May stopped to refute only in an instant all panic. All of a sudden, everyone is out of step, people crowded people, people push people, only no one else to fight their own people. When a bodyguard at the back was bitten off by Hung Ling, everyone was shocked by the scene. Run, cannibal. The monster ate people. The bodyguard who was still alive was scared to change his face and ran away in a hurry. Where was the momentum before that? Unfortunately, when they want to take Yunwu's life, they are doomed not to get out of this wasteland of their own choice. Hung Ling can hardly get the permission of Yunwu to eat people. Naturally, she has a big appetite and is willing to fight and devour. This is the first time that Yunwu has seen Hung Ling's foraging from such a close distance. His fangs are ferocious and gnawing all around. His arms are broken and his internal organs and intestines are splashing everywhere. It's too much disgusting. See person, can't help a burst of nausea. However, Yunwu looked coldly. She was climbing out of the dead. She was used to such bloody scenes after half a stick of incense. In addition to the thick bloodstain seeping into the soil on the ground, there was no corpse or limb at the scene. However, on the ground, there is a big, fat red safflower, which is very abrupt. Hung Ling is very satisfied with a burp. 2 branches and leaves touched a circle of the trunk, seems to touch the stomach. This just got up from the ground, walked to the Cloud dance. Lord, belch, master. Hung Ling dances to Chao Yun like a little flattery. Yunwu frowned and looked at Hung Ling's fangs. There was a smell in the air. He covered his nose and stepped back a few steps. Hung Ling, stay away from me. It stinks. Stink? Hung Ling smell speech, face innocently closed the bud, with a little bit of grievance way, people but flowers, where smelly That cute posture is not in line with its ferocious, fat, image. The Cloud dances the facial expression, some dislike the way like, clean oneself, otherwise, don't get close to me. As soon as I hear that I can't get close to the master, Hung Ling will not follow. However, did not dare to refute, also obediently caught the little red snake, said the next sentence, the but bumpy turned to find water. I'm going to find some water to wash. The master will wait for me. Until Hung Ling goes far away, Yunwu looks at its back, is a burst of speechless and helpless. Alas! There is such a big greedy fat flower around, which makes her laugh and cry. A setting sun in the sky can fall on the horizon, reflected in the shadow of clouds, like a dazzling bloodline. The setting sun is about to set. After Yunwu took back her sight, she turned back to the carriage and was ready to see Long San. In a shabby carriage. Dragon 3 in Cloud dance on the car, subconsciously toward the inside to hide for a while, but this action just out, he stopped the car in time. Yunwoo didn't notice his weird little details, but she didn't say a word. The corners of his mouth rose slightly, as if joking, and said, "How? Scared by Hongling? Or are you scared by me?" Hearing this, Long San was stunned for a second, then shook his head in a hurry. No, it's just I feel a little sick." Yunwoo looked at the gauze on his body, the position of his chest, because just Hongling, some blood oozed out. "And it's hard?" Long San's eyes looked at Feng Shi and shook his head slightly. His voice was weak and he said, "Do you think I'm ashamed?" "I can't help you." Cloud Dance eyes flash a deep, but the corner of the mouth raised a smile, just to speak. At this time, there was an evil voice outside the car. "Now that you know it's humiliating, why stay here and be humiliating?" The sound is Cloud Dance stunned to follow the reputation, and sure enough, see Dragon Ching Evil, that tall and straight figure standing not far away. The setting sun is as red as blood, falling on the tall figure, inexplicably setting off the beautiful and smiling face of the dragon, which makes people feel horrible and cold. I don't know if I'm being attentive. Cloud Dance always feels that the sudden appearance of Dragon Qingxie seems to be full of a strange feeling that it is on the verge of a certain outbreak point and may not be able to suppress a certain temper at any time. How could it be you? Actually, she wanted to say, why are you here? Long Qingxie steps to Yunwoo and jumps into the carriage. He turns a blind eye to the Dragon 3 beside him. With the extension of his long arm, he directly holds Yunwoo in his arms, with a dangerous smile on his handsome face. "No, who else can I have?" "You little thing, you don't say goodbye, but it makes me sad." "Say," he that handsome and thick skin of rub toward her neck. This dog-like rub people, let Cloud Dance can't help but frown. "Okay, you don't move your feet." Every time we met, he didn't bother her. Cloud Dance uneasily push away the dragon to poor evil, really don't understand, how can he do so haunted? Dragon Ching Xia Tade, on the contrary, hoop her more tightly. Then, he let the Cloud Dance struggle in his arms, turn his eyes, his cold black eyes, but straight to the Dragon 3 lying on the inside of the car. Lung San's body trembled, and somehow he was afraid to dodge the evil eyes of the dragon. He seemed to be afraid of something, but he tried to be calm as if nothing had happened. Cloud Dance seems to be aware of a strange situation, stretch out his hand to open his waist, lift his eyes to meet the dragon's evil line of sight, the tone is quite serious. "Long Qingxie, you'll follow me, but have you forgotten what you promised me?" No matter what's wrong with her, the situation at this time is not the time for him to make trouble. What's more, he said he would not appear in front of Dragon 3. Now he not only appears suddenly, but also stares at Dragon 3 with his eyes that want to kill people. What's the matter? "Little thing, you eloped with others secretly first. You broke your promise to me first." When the dragon said that, the slender fingers picked up the cloud's jaw, and the smooth touch made the dragon's cool fingertips reluctant to retreat. This gesture seems too ambiguous. Cloud Dance remaining light glimpses to Long San that cast to come, dismay with some strange look in the eyes, the fundus of the eye glimmer dark flash. However, he still slapped the frivolous hand of Long Qingxie. Frowning and glancing at him, he said, "It's the Emperor's temporary decree that we should leave the Imperial City immediately. Naturally, we can't disobey the will." If you want to say that Long Qingxie knows nothing about this, Yunwoo doesn't believe it. Because, if he really did not know, at this moment, he would not be so quick to catch up here. But this also shows that this man really has eyeliner in the palace. He can even cast his eyelid even the imperial palace of the Zhou dynasty. What kind of force does he have in the whole imperial city, or even in the whole Zhou dynasty? How much more did he hide? Well, for the sake of imperial edict, I don't care for my husband. Looking at some of the Cloud Dance in meditation, Dragon Ching Evil inexplicable corner of the mouth evil spirit outline said. Hearing the sound, Yunwoo regained his mind and looked up at a man who looked like, "I'm very good at speaking." He felt helpless and sad at the bottom of his heart. However, I didn't wait for Yunwoo to say anything. But Long Qingxie pointed his backhand at Long San, who was lying on the inside of the car and didn't speak. He said with a smile, "But you should at least explain to me why you are left alone now." "Explain?" Cloud Dance smell speech, direct white he one eye, she didn't feel it necessary to explain with him what. Actually. At this time, Long San tries to help Yunwoo explain. But the next second, he was forced back by Long Qingxie's cold eyes, and a touch of fear flashed in his eyes unconsciously. In this scene, Cloud Dance has been brought into our eyes. This Dragon 3 when Long Qingxie turned his head and looked at Yunwoo, he regained his usual appearance of laughing a little bit unorthodox. "If you put your eyes on other men, you will be jealous for your husband." Cloud Dance will look back from the Dragon 3 body, just calmly said, "Those bodyguards are arranged by the queen, just want to do harm to me in Dragon 3, so, was eaten by Hongling." It's a very simple explanation. Yunwoo is obviously not prepared to explain too much. As for Hongling, with his ability, I believe he must know the name of cannibal flower. Dragon Qing Evil slightly narrowed his eyes, thinking of the particularly fat little monster in his mind, his eyes brushed a touch of fun, and his mouth slightly raised. "If you eat so many people, I'm afraid you've gained a lot of weight. It's time for you to lose weight. You seem to know a lot about it. Why, you have placed an eyelid beside me." Cloud Dance stares at him and says low. Although the seeds were given by Long San, they were planted by him. Obviously, he knows exactly what kind of Hongling is. However, Long Qingxie was not ready to answer this question. The evil spirit raised her mouth slightly and gave her a smile. "Every time I see his expression, Yunwoo feels depressed. However, at this time. That, I don't know if this is." Dragon 3 lying on the car, suddenly asked. However, he had not finished his questioning, and a deep vision of his eyes swept past. At first, Long San dodged a little. Later, somehow, after seeing Cloud Dance, he took the initiative to face up to Long Qingxie. A contest? Provocation? Maybe, there is a little bit of it. Cloud Dance looks at the strange atmosphere between them, eyebrows slightly wrinkle for a while, however, still talk with Long Qingxie. "Long Qingxie, don't forget what you promised me. Long San is my friend. One of my friends, I don't know whether it was intentional or unintentional, so that the three people present could hear it very clearly." Long Qingxie takes back his sight on Long San, and his dark eyes look at the Cloud Dance, which is strange. Silent peace second, he just inexplicably meaningful to Cloud Dance said a word. "Little things, sometimes, remember to shine your eyes a little bit, maybe many things are not what you think." Not what she thought. This man always pretends to be mysterious when he talks. What do you mean? Cloud Dance pick eyebrow of sea to dragon poor evil. And then. In the angle that Cloud Dance didn't notice, Long San's eyes exposed from the bandage, staring at Long Qingxie with vigilance, like a flash of something. Long Qingxie doesn't intend to answer the question of Cloud Dance. The corner of his mouth raised a smile of evil spirit, lazily hanging his slender body on Yunwoo, greasy and crooked. "I'll tell you later. Now that we've all met, there's no need for you to hide from my husband, right?" Suddenly embrace, let Cloud Dance struggle for a few times, can find that Dragon Qing Evil seems to hold her, but actually use strength is not small. With the strength gap between her and Long Qingxie, it's really hard to break away from his deliberate embrace. Especially, this is a special face and thick rascal man. Long Qingxie, let go. If you don't want to be shameful, I want more. However, where does a man care about her? Little thing, don't make trouble. Let me have a rest. I'm tired. Dragon inclines to heresy and buries his face directly in the neck nest of Cloud Dance. His voice is a bit tired. Yunwoo frowned. He wanted to push him away, but he seemed to really feel his tired weak state. It's the first time I've seen Long Qingxie's tired posture since I met this man. What's going on? In the heart hesitated for a while. Finally, Cloud Dance finally took back the hand, let him hang on himself. Is this soft-hearted? Maybe after all, Long Qingxie was the first man she knew, the first man to protect her, or the first man to understand her. Look at this. Dragon 3, lying on the carriage, looks very complicated. Looking at the dragon, he seems to have no idea how Cloud Dance can provoke such a person. Dragon Qingxie glances at Dragon 3 in the neck nest of Cloud Dance, which has a kind of strange color. It makes Dragon 3 tremble instantly and feel cold in the bottom of his heart. It seems that he feels the danger involving his life. This man, Dragon Qing evil mouth stained with bloodthirsty evil cold, in see Dragon 3 that I flash fear, just lazy general back to the line of sight. I'm sleepy. Get some sleep. With that, Long Qingxie yawned and closed his eyes, ready to sleep. See the man this posture, Cloud Dance helpless. If you want to sleep, just go to one side. It's nothing to be lazy about her. However, Yunwu still asked, how do you know we are here? She's right. She's definitely not going to Shinwu College in this direction. Even if he knew that she had left the Imperial City and wanted to catch up with her, he was going to the direction of Shinwu College, but he came to the Desolate Grove. However, Yunwu didn't know that when Long Qingxie helped her to recover, his blood had been integrated into her body. Compared with the original blood planted in her body, he felt her existence. At this time, there was a constant connection between him and her. Of course, Long Qingxie will not tell her this. Half a day did not wait for the man's answer. Cloud Dance thought he really fell asleep, also did not ask. However, the line of sight subconsciously lowered his head and took a look at Long Qingxie. He happened to see a few wisps of black hair coming out of the crown and falling on Long Qingxie's beautiful face. It is also this one eye, let Cloud Dance see clearly for the first time. Dragon poor evil now some light green black, like boil for a long time did not sleep. Tired like this, do you want to chase her? It's just when the Cloud Dance is enchanted. Little thing, I know you have something to do with your husband's heart, but if you look at it like this, I can't help it. Dragon Qingxie suddenly broke away the dark eyes, close to the face of Cloud Dance, and could almost see his reflection clearly in the dark eyes of Cloud Dance. I don't mind being surrounded, do you? Little thing was suddenly caught a positive, let Cloud Dance for the first time is a leng, because some did not respond. But when she reacts, the sense of danger and evil on Long Qingxie's body makes Yunwu feel the back neck hair standing up. Reach out, push away that close handsome face. Hide the heart of his heart, that dear heartbeat. Cloud Dance cold way, I just want to see you, this shameless face chasing women running around the man, how thick the face in the end, what the head in the end installed. What can it hold? Of course it's you. Dragon inclined evil hook lips smile, eyes wave, hold Cloud hand in his heart, like false is true. Yunwu didn't expect that this man could be wild to this point. You know, Long San is still watching in the same carriage. But when Yunwu wants to open his mouth and push him away, he looks into his deep eyes. The deep emotion makes Yunwu stop. This man, he. Just then. Master, well, who are you? Why are you here? After cleaning herself up, Hongling jumped back to the car with water stains on her body. But found that Long Qing evil is also behind, Hongling carefully back, like some fear of him. Cloud Dance looking at that red ling, very helpless way, what answer, how crowded up. However, Hongling is not moved. Instead, she stares at Long Qingxie and feels the strange feeling of déjà vu on him. It's a familiar smell. Hongling choked for a long time and said this. Dragon Qing evil mouth slightly yang, Chuji knocked Hongling petals, quite meaningful way, little monster, darling when you're flower, don't worry. Hongling snorted. Originally, he could not accept this kind of behavior. But I don't know why, to his sight, Hongling has a kind of inexplicable feeling, as if unable to resist his command. In a moment, he closed the flower bud and made an angry appearance, but he didn't dare to talk back to the dragon again. Cloud Dance pick eyebrow of looking at this scene. This Hongling, ever since she planted it, has been fearless. Every day, she yells that everyone dares to eat. Even her master sometimes wants to be depressed. How to face this man, but it becomes more obedient than her. Does this man really have the ability to let all people and things fear him? However, where does Yunwu know? In fact, when Yunwu nourishes Hongling, Hongling also absorbs the blood of Dragon Qingxie. Now its strength is still weak. In the face of dragon's evil, it can't get up its momentum. This is instinct. Well, go out and dry first. In order to avoid the atmosphere of this person's flower is not right, Yunwu also put Hongling outside the car. However, when seeing the smiling Dragon Qingxie, Yunwu still couldn't help asking, Dragon Qingxie, when did you bully it? Long Qingxie, holding Yunwu in his arms, said with a smile, little thing, when do you think I will have the chance to be alone with him? Yunwu thought about it, but it is true. Hongling only left her sight when she was in the imperial palace. At that time, Hongling was with Long San in the imperial palace. Thinking of this, Yunwu looks at Long San and finds that he has fallen asleep again because of his heavy injury. When Long Qingxie saw that she was looking at other men, her eyes flashed a touch of displeasure. Raised his big hand, holding Yunwu's chin, he forced Yunwu's face to himself and said in a deep voice, it's just a waste. What's worth seeing? Yunwu frowned and was not happy with his overbearing behavior. He patted his hand and warned, Long Qingxie, you can go with us, but don't always use your hands in the future. Oh. Little thing, open your eyes and have a good look. Who is worthy of your protection? Don't let me down too much. Although Yunwu is very annoyed with the dragon's evil spirit, he knows something about it. Although this man is a rascal and cheeky, he is not unreasonable. He always has his own reasons for doing things. But what does he mean by that? Cloud Dance is not stupid, some things, although still not clear, does not mean that she will not doubt. It's just, what's the truth? All of a sudden. Ha! A whistling sound came from far and near. And that is the sudden whistling of the flying beast, interrupted Yunwu's thinking. Frown, lift eyes, and look into the air. I saw a few huge winged birds flapping their wings, from far to near, landing from high altitude, and after a while, staying not far away from them. A flamboyant woman drives a winged bird to dive into the low air and jumps down from its back. Cloud Dance looks at a woman, can't help eyebrow a pick, is that woman named Ruthless again? However, compared with the beautiful and elegant light red dress before, her tight black dress at this time showed her wild arrogance. Black tights, wrapped in her incomparably beautiful body, seemed more concave and convex and attractive. Even Cloud Dance couldn't help looking more. Even those who send a vehicle are hot women. This man can enjoy it very much. Cloud Dance thought in the heart, quite cool line of sight, slant the mouth of sea toward the dragon to pour evil. Dragon Qing evil naturally aware of the eyes of Cloud Dance, sexy thin lips slightly evil. Don't worry. In my eyes, you are the only one from the beginning to the end. Other women are just like those flying beasts, she said. Listen, what sweet talk. Look at this man to know, he is simply the most incisive performance. Cloud Dance heard, white eye swept him one eye, the man's sweet words can trust. Of course not. So, she didn't care. However, Roland, who had just come near, happened to hear this sentence. Her face, which had been specially made up, was iron blue. For the third time. Before, for another ordinary-looking woman, the master twice despised her. This time, for this sick and useless woman, he belittled her. She is the most popular one in Longa. Now she is compared with Flying Beast. This is too insulting. And all these insults are due to that woman. Thinking of this, Roland's eyes glided over Yunwu's face, and her eyes were cold and disgusted. Such a sick and ugly woman, where on earth is it worth the master's trouble for her? You know, even in Longa, flying beasts are precious means of transportation. As a result, in order to catch up with this woman, the master sent out 5 flying beasts to search everywhere. Yunwoo naturally feels the hostility of Ruolin. However, Cloud Dance also thinks it's funny. If a woman with independence can only see a man in her eyes, this kind of woman is sad enough for her. As for Long Qingxia, I'm afraid his evil nature of fearing not to be disordered has long wanted to see her jealous for him because of other women. Unfortunately, I'm afraid he will fail. With Yunwoo's temperament, if she really has a heart for any man, she will not be jealous for a woman. This is not another reason, just because her temperament is like that. Dragon Qing Evil and Cloud Dance, for Ruolin mood in the eyes, but did not say much. According to the arrangement of Dragon, the flying beast left 2 ends, one for Long San and Ruolin, and the other is naturally he and Yunwoo. Cloud Dance is a bit unexpected. Long Qingxia will choose to let Ruolin stay, but that's all. And the arrangement of Long Qingxia also let Ruolin heart is not satisfied. She has some deliberately close to Long Qingxia, hope to change his decision. Master, isn't it Ruolin who drives flying animals for you? Why don't you let Ruolin? Long Qingxia's mouth is still slightly raised, but his eyes are cold. How? Not satisfied with my arrangement? In the eyes, Ruolin's heart trembled. She was very unwilling. However, under the sharp pressure, she could only bow her head and choose to obey. Ruolin dare not. What are you doing? Do you want me to invite you in person? The dragon's sharp eyes sank cold. Although Ruolin felt aggrieved, she didn't dare to have any hesitation anymore. She immediately went to the Dragon 3 in the carriage. Long Qingxia takes back his sight, restores his lazy and evil posture, finds a comfortable place to sit, and watches Ruolin move Long San out of the carriage and onto the back of the flying beast. One side of Cloud Dance has been looking at this scene, glanced at the Dragon Qingxia, pretty face changing. Dragon Qingxia, which side is the real you? Maybe Yunwoo has wanted to ask this question for a long time. Long Xiao. Long Qingxia. 2 completely different faces, almost even she sometimes confused, this man's real face, in the end is which one? Maybe none of them is him. However, because of this, she couldn't see through him all the time, and she was still a little defensive at the bottom of her heart. For this problem, Long Qingxia picked eyebrows, like a serious meditation for a while. Just see him grinning to her reply, as long as you think, which side is the real me, which is, or in front of you, any side is my own. In fact, in the last sentence, Long Qingxia didn't make any jokes. For her, he always used his true self. As for his changeable identity, he just didn't have the time to explain it to her. However, his words in other people's ears, but think it is a glib lie. Cloud Dance didn't ask anything about it. Although the flying beast shape selected by Longa is only of medium level, it is enough to be used as an aerial boat. Cloud Dance is also on the flying beast, only to find that the above unique cave. On the back of the flying beast, it looks like a small room, under the sunshade, tables, chairs, benches, beds and so on. After Long San was placed on the bed, Yunwoo looked at Ruolin, who was a little pale. This woman, I'm afraid, Dragon 3, let me take care of it. Cloud Dance suddenly turned his head, glanced at the lazy man below and said a word. However, Long Qingxia turned on her body, narrowed her eyes and raised her chin. Little thing, can you fly a flying beast? Cloud Dance clapped his hand and said, isn't there Ruolin here? She'll drive. I'll stay here. Dragon Qing evil mouth outline, also not angry way, of course not, my woman, why take care of other men? His woman? Does this man really take her as his possession? To be honest, Yunwoo doesn't like it, because it makes her feel like an object. Ruolin was listening to their flirting, and a mouthful of silver teeth would be broken. What's so good about this woman? How can you get such favor from the master? You are not good at it. You're interested in staying. Let's stay together. Anyway, there's a lot of space here. Cloud Dance shrugs. Little thing, there's a limit to my patience for my husband. Do you want me to strangle the waist or leave as my husband's flying beast? Is this man threatening her? The cloud dances to squint, the eye ground is cold to pass, she never receives anyone's threat, no matter is, because of what matter. However, the cloud dance also didn't know to think of what, twinkling of an eye, but again astering the eye ground that wiped coldly, okay, since you want to drive for me, why should I refuse, but let them come here. Cloud dance says, turn ahead, face that still nest in a tree side, resemble, see a play, similar, already silent stare at them for a long time of red ling and small red snake. What are you doing there? Come on up. It's a big place, and it's a good place. When Hung Ling heard of it, she nodded fiercely. The ferocious flower bud of fangs was running in with a red shadow. In the blink of an eye, Hung Ling's thick limbs were entangled on the back of the flying beast. The flower bud was half open, and the silver wire could be seen, brushing down. People with a clear eye can see that Hung Ling seems to have a great appetite for the flying beast. And at the moment when Hung Ling was entangled, the flying beast seemed to feel the danger of chili behind him, and suddenly the turbulent Fanny thought of it. Fortunately, Wolin timely control, otherwise, at this time is bound to overturn. Wolin's face, at the moment when she saw Hung Ling, was as ugly as earth. Her eyes were a little frightened, but soon she was angry. Because, this flower is not like the monster of flowers, it is the pet of the sick woman. Master, although I'm quite full, it looks delicious. When can I eat it? Hung Ling's voice was innocent and naturally asked. The little red snake should also be like, hiss, a few times. Yunwu glanced at the sleeping dragon 3 and said to Wolin, wait until the destination. With that, Yunwu didn't pay attention to anyone's face, turned around and jumped down, and went to another flying beast. Even if this flying beast is rare, it belongs to that man. After being eaten by Hung Ling, she doesn't feel pain. However, once Wolin heard of it, her face was earthy, and she was very angry. He clenched his fists, as if he didn't go to Yunwu. Long Qingxie heard, not only did not feel the slightest pain, but that beautiful face quietly flashed a doting smile. As long as she likes, maybe, even if she wants the flying beast of his whole dragon pavilion to feed Hung Ling, he will be very happy. As for Hung Ling, she was so happy to hear Yunwu's reply. He had been lying on the back of the flying beast for a long time, with saliva, flower buds closing and opening, like a dog's nose, smelling the delicious fragrance. Provoked the flying beast, and from time to time there was a commotion of fear. It's hard for Wolin to control. She almost fell in the air several times. Her face almost changed again and again. It's more wonderful than the pigment plate. On the way. Cloud Dance seems to return to the past as cold and indifferent, and Long Qingxie began to be quite peaceful, especially for her posture, flying beast. But sometimes, men's security is just a little time. Before long, the man was like a few tendons again, sitting next to Yunwu and coming forward. Why didn't you say anything all the way? Angry? Angry? There's nothing wrong with her. Yunwu glanced at him, ignored him and continued to meditate. Long Qingxie looks at the cloud dance, closing his eyes and concentrating on it, and the evil spirit's fundus breeds a sense of doting. Little thing, you are going to Shinwang Samurai Academy. How much do you know about it? Understand? She didn't know much about it. However, it was said that the King of God and Samurai Academy was all for talented people. As a waist 9 lady, she could imagine the general situation. See Cloud Dance not make a sound, Long Qing evil pick eyebrow, really don't want to know? It's good to get some information before going to Samurai College. But how could this man suddenly be so kind? From the expression of his smile, it was obvious that he was fishing for her with bait. If she gave a reaction, the dragon would not say it happily. Cloud Dance is still, high cold, silence. Seeing this, the dragon sighed falsely. Little thing, I'm in a bad mood for my husband. Every time I'm in a bad mood for my husband, someone will have bad luck. You say, how about if I let someone throw that rubbish down from the flying beast? The cloud dances to smell speech, suddenly narrowed the eye's sun, in the eye's purple smoke general color one flash but pass. This man seems to like threatening her very much. What makes him think that he can really threaten her? Or, after enduring his rascal for a while, he thought he could kick his nose and eyes at her. Long Qingxie, do you think it's fun to threaten me? Little thing, I just want to communicate with you. How can I be so excited? Long Qingxie leans on the long couch. The breeze blows his hair and clothes slowly. It is set off by the blue sky and white clouds. In addition, he is so handsome that he does not look like an ordinary person. It is really evil and immortal. However, such an eye-catching illusion cannot confuse Yunwu. This evil man is really beautiful and evil. Unfortunately, no matter how beautiful she looks, she is in vain. On the contrary, his affectation, seductive posture makes Yunwu want to kick the dragon from the flying beast. Long Qingxie's hand touched Cloud Dance's taut face, and he laughed wildly. Little thing, don't look at me like this, but I can't help it. The latter words were obviously stopped intentionally. Cloud Dance twists eyebrow, pats open his that always rubs her face hand, cold fierce squint, what do you want? Although he couldn't beat the man, he always took advantage of him, which made him feel angry. In particular, he threatened me many times today. Long Qingxie is also a smart thief. How can he not know how to score? What can I want to do? I just want to say that I can't help telling you what I know. Smell speech, Cloud Dance squint to stare at him for a long time, just also quite a stringent ask away, that says. Dragon Qing evil mouth slightly yang, fundus quite doting, said. The Samurai Academy is located at the junction of the three kingdoms. Every year, it goes to the imperial capitals of the three countries for selection. The qualified students can follow the tutor back to the college and start the practice and study that everyone admires. But in fact, the standard of the Samurai Academy is much higher than the selection standard. After those students are brought back, they are only allowed to stay at the outer gate. Every year, Shenwang Samurai Academy holds 4 outer gate competitions, and only the top 3 can get the qualification to enter the inner gate. Little thing, you and that trash are directly arranged over the selection. With the obstinacy of the Samurai Academy, you have to be careful of them. Yunwu heard from Long Qingxie's words that he seemed very familiar with Shenwang Samurai Academy, and even knew the tutor's character. Did he go to the Samurai Academy? Long Qingxie saw the idea of Cloud Dance at a glance and said with disdain, what do you think? I don't need to practice in that kind of greenhouse. As a person who is going to the Samurai Academy soon, Yunwu doesn't match his words. However, at this time, Yunwu sweeps down the corner of his eyes and finds that he is passing by the town. He suddenly thinks of the medicinal materials that Hayo said he wanted to refine for Longsan. Wait a minute, I'm going down to the town. Cloud Dance makes the dragon stop flying. The dragon will not refuse, because the flying beast is bigger and more eye-catching, so it lands in a remote place outside the town. However, after seeing the name of the town clearly, Long Qingxie's eyebrows were picked up and his look was quite strange. Ruolin, you stay here. Ruolin didn't dare to disobey the meaning of dragon's evil, but secretly glared at Yunwu angrily, and dared to be angry. Yunwu glanced at her with a sneer. I just feel that there is something wrong with this woman's brain. From beginning to end, it's the dragon's evil that sticks to her. It's not that she sticks to the dragon's evil. She has the ability to stare at the dragon's evil. However, since Long Qingxie let Ruolin stay behind, Yunwu naturally can't swagger and hit the market with Hongling, a big red flower who is eloquent, but also can walk greedy, to go to the town. Hongling, you also stay. Be good without being bullied. That is to say, when being bullied, you don't have to be merciful and eat directly. Hongling this ya, don't look at it like this, some aspects, with Cloud Dance or very intentional. He immediately grinned his teeth and said, Yes, master. I'm not a vegetarian. Don't worry this situation, straight let that if Lin facial expression is gloomy iron black, almost didn't bite to break a tooth root. She is cruel. After the arrangement, Yunwu and Long Qingxi entered the town together. Before entering the city, Long Qingxie didn't hide his silver hair, but he didn't know where to take out a mask and put it on. As soon as I approached the gate, I found that there was no guard in the town, and the gate was wide open for people to come and go. Yunwu thinks it's strange. In principle, even if it is a small town, there should be a guard town, but this town is only special. Until after entering the city, Yunwu finally understood what happened to the strange look of Dragon Qingxie. As soon as I entered the city, I saw that more than 60% of the roadside buildings were brothels. And the passers-by are almost all the women who come and go, and the fat men. Cloud Dance slightly frowned, Xiaoyao Town. At this moment, the scene can really live up to the name of the city. Long Qingxie suddenly extended his long arm, took Yunwu's shoulder and said with a smile, "Little thing, you have to stop here yourself." "What is this place? Didn't you see it when you came in?" "This is Xiaoyao Town." What Yunwu actually wants to ask is, how can this town look like this? Did all the brothels of the Zhou dynasty gather in this town? It's weird in ancient times. I can't figure it out. However, Cloud Dance did not break the casserole to ask the end. Long Qingxie is protecting the clouds all the way and walking towards the deep street. The more he goes forward, the more luxurious the brothels are and the more beautiful the women in the pavilions are. There is no garrison and no official in Xiaoyao Town. Everything is done according to the established rules. There are brothels everywhere. Can there be places to sell medicinal materials? Before, Yunwu asked Long Qingxie if there was any place to buy medicinal materials in Xiaoyao Town. He said that there was, and then he took them to the deep street. Long Qingxie stopped at the gate of a magnificent building with Cloud Dance and said to her, "Little thing, don't underestimate Xiaoyao Town. The things here are more complete than the Imperial City." More than the Imperial City. Is that exaggerating? When Yunwu looked up, he saw the three characters, Furong Building, hanging above. The handwriting was a little wild in the atmosphere. It was the most suitable place to use it in this kind of Qin Lu Chuguan. Huanyang, who is waiting for guests by the door, dares to come and stop him when she sees that Long Qingxie is bringing a woman into the door. "Young master, we don't receive female guests here." Long Qingxie threw her an ingot of silver ingot and said only 3 words. "Treasure Pavilion. You two come with me." Huanyang's face changed and her flattering smile disappeared. After she collected the silver, she respectfully led the way for the dragon and Cloud Dance. Under the guidance of Huanyang, they went all the way to the 3rd floor. The atmosphere here was completely different from that downstairs. All of a sudden, Cloud Dance has the illusion of returning to the market of all things. However, the stalls here are more orderly than the everything market, and the overall environment is quieter. Yunwu has to admit that Long Qingxi really has some insight. If Long Qingxi didn't bring her here today, how could she know that there is such a cave in the Furong Building? After the flower Nyang brings them up, she says something to a person who looks like a bookkeeper at the counter and leaves. And the boy at the entrance of the 3rd floor comes forward and takes the initiative to talk with Yunwu and Long Qingxi. "You too, can a villain have a place to serve a distinguished guest?" Yunwu looks at the boy, but he doesn't know much about it, so he doesn't know much about it. He just waits for the dragon to reply. Long Qingxie is wearing a mask. He is less lazy and more dignified, just like the one he saw at the Longa auction branch in Los Angeles. He took a look at the boy, and looked at him coldly. "Get some pen and paper." "Yes, just a moment." After the boy's feet are smeared with oil, the dragon turns his eyes, but looks at the Cloud Dance with a smile in his eyes. "Little thing, do you know what kind of herbs you want to buy?" At the moment when Yunwu's eyes were on the dragon, he always felt that the dragon knew something. However, if you think about it, you will be proud of its strange ability. If it doesn't want to, it will be impossible for others to detect its existence. Then he decided that he was oversensitive. The boy soon came back with a pen and paper, and respectfully spread the white paper on the table. Cloud Dance recalled the Dan prescription given to her by Hyo, wrote down and listed the herbs on the paper one by one. That's all. Long Qingxie picked up the piece of paper and looked at it for a few times. Then he glanced at it and appreciated it. The woman's handwriting was hard and powerful. It was very beautiful, but few women could write such beautiful and powerful words. However, after changing hands, Long Qingxie directly tore it into 2 parts, half of which he handed to the boy and half to Yunwu. Long Qingxie said to the boy, "Go and find these herbs." "What are you doing?" Cloud Dance takes that half piece of paper, slightly frown. Some don't understand the meaning of Dragon Qingxie. Long Qingxie squinted at the Cloud Dance for a while and said to the Cloud Dance like a reminder, "Little thing, since you have these Dan Fang, don't you know that Dan Fang can't show people easily?" Cloud Dance slightly aleng, "Can't easily show people." "Think of Black Ao is always casually will Dan Fang all told her, where she will know, Dan Fang can't easily show people. Anyway, can you understand Dan Fang?" Dragon Qing evil hook lip smile, quite some complacent way, "For husband I know more things, you have to slowly explore." Seeing the dragon pouring evil doesn't seem to be asking her how to understand those Dan Fang, so Yunwu is naturally happy. The existence of Black Proud Cloud Dance does not want to let anyone know, that is her last most advantageous card. However, Yunwu just walked forward a few steps, but he was grabbed by Long Qingxie behind him and asked, "Little thing, you don't buy herbs. Are you waiting to pay for your husband?" Yunwu looks at a medicine stand. There are many kinds of herbs on it, but she knows medicine and pharmacology. But the more she came into contact with the world, she had never heard of many strange herbs. And Hyo gave her Dan Fang. She only knew the names of the herbs, but she didn't know what the strange herbs looked like. Yunwu quickly converged and said, "Long Shao is famous in the 3 kingdoms, and he is also the richest man in the 3 kingdoms. I'm fighting for the bill in front of you. I'm not beating you in the face of Long Shao. It's better than flexible eloquence, but Yunwu is not weak at all." Dragon Qing evil smell speech, eyes strange stare at her for a long time, half ring, just grinning need her that brain. "I've lost to you." Quite doting said A, Dragon Qing evil also didn't say anything. Instead, she consciously bought all the herbs she would see along the way. When they turned around on the 3rd floor and came back to the counter with the herbs, they saw the boy anxiously turning around in the same place. Cloud Dance and Dragon Qing evil look at each other and walk towards the little guy together. "You are back." When he saw them, he said to them, "There is a precious herb on this list. It happened that someone was selling it in the treasure pavilion today, but that man is a strange man. He asked the buyer to buy it in person, or he would not sell it." You see, Yunwu is not surprised at such things. There are always some people in the world who think differently from others. Long Qingxie took a look at the only bad medicine on the half-dan prescription in his hand, and frowned. "Lead the way. That's the most important medicine. Without that medicine, the whole prescription would be useless." The boy got the order and bowed to lead the way. As he walked, he told them about the strange man. Old Man Yao also has some real skills. He can always collect herbs that others can't find. But that's why he has a bad temper. If you really want to get that medicine, please bear with it for a while. Don't have the same opinion with him. Long Qingxie and Cloud Dance don't care much about this kind of thing. People with ability have some quirks, which are always acceptable. "Mr. Yao, I brought the buyer here." Xiaoxi stands in front of a stall and points to a thin old man to introduce him to Dragon and Cloud Dance. "You too, this is Mr. Yao. The herbs you want are in his hands." Yunwu heard that when he came to the old man, he turned Old Man Yao into Old Man Yao. He felt a little funny in his heart. How old he was, he learned to be both sides. Long Qingxie bowed his head and swept around the stall. At a glance, he saw the herbs they wanted. A green palm-sized fruit is lying on a clean red cloth. The fruit was wiped very clean, the oil content of the peel pan luster, looks very good. Yunwu looked at the Baiyangguo on the danfang. In fact, it was far from the level of Chixiangguo in her space. However, it's the main medicine in Hyaidan's prescription. It's natural to buy it. Yunwu directly asked Old Man Yao, "Old Yao, how do you plan to sell this Baiyangguo?" Old Man Yao opened his drooping eyelids and looked at Yunwu listlessly. "No more. Cloud dance a zheng, how to open mouth not to sell. Mr. Yao, I sincerely want to buy it. How about your price?" Old Man Yao opened his eyes irritably. His loose eyelids drooped. When he looked at the cloud dance, he didn't look good. "I don't do business with ugly people. It affects my mood. Get out of the way and don't let me see you. Ugly man." Cloud dance didn't, she subconsciously raised her hand and touched her face after changing face. Is her appearance ugly? What is the appearance of her half-face destroyed in her previous life? However, the action of cloud dance, but let the man around misunderstood. Long Qingxie grabs Yunwu's hand that caresses his cheek. Why should his woman show her face to others, especially to an old man who describes her as obscene? Old Man Yao noticed Dragon Qingxie beside cloud dance. His eyes moved and his face was no longer so ugly. "Boy, you look good, but what's the matter with the mask? Is it a disgrace?" Cloud dance smell speech, immediately some understand, this Yao old man's mind. No wonder he will sell things in Furong building. At least the flower girls in this building are very beautiful. Originally, she didn't have much thought, but when Old Man Yao was very interested in the appearance of Long Qingxie, suddenly, an evil thought flashed in her mind. Immediately moved to let the dragon incline evil to take off the idea of the mask. Dragon Qing evil but see through her idea like, preemptive in cloud dance ear clench teeth way, little thing, you don't want to let for husband to betray the color of people outside you. You're very beautiful. You usually listen to thick-skinned people. You don't lose money if you show up. Cloud dance rarely smile at him and say, the next second, a hand, very quickly want to grab his mask. But the figure of the man is strange tilt staggered to go, eyes deep staring at the cloud, you are going to come with me with strong? See the man dodge, cloud dance also didn't start. If you really fight with him head-on, I'm afraid it will give this man a chance to play a hooligan when he is defeated. But at this time, a ruffian voice came from behind them. I said, Old Man Yao, you still have so many rules for selling a medicine. Aren't you afraid of being beaten one day? Yunwu and Longqingxi look back and see a young man who obviously lingers in the flowers all the year round and consumes too much, coming towards them in vain steps. Ignoring the cloud dance and the dragon, the young man looked around Old Man Yao's stall and saw the Baiyangguo. Old Man Yao, I want your Baiyangguo. Old Man Yao opened all his eyes and said, don't bother me if I don't sell you my things. Well, don't be ignorant. Is there anyone who dares to rob me in this treasure pavilion? Long Qing evil smell speech, can eyebrow peak stir up, this young man tone can still quite big, especially dare in front of him, the corner of the mouth is addicted to evil slightly up. Mr. Yao, since you don't want to sell it to him, how about selling it to me? The young man looked at Long Qingxie in surprise. He didn't expect that someone would dare to rob him. He looked at the dragon and cloud dance for a while, determined that they were two new faces, which made him laugh sarcastically. Boy, you'd better be wise and don't rob me, otherwise, I'll make you unable to get out of Furong building. Long Qingxie shrugged his shoulders and said to him, first come, then come. Now it's you, not me who rob things. Seeing that the scene was not right, the boy quickly whispered with Long Qingxie. This guest, you'd better not conflict with him. This man's name is Li Yan. His father is a bully in Xiaoyao town. He is comparable to the emperor in Xiaoyao town. Cloud dance beside listening, silent smile. Like an emperor. She even saw the real emperor, and even saw the emperor treatment of the man beside her. This young man, in the sight of the man, I don't know whether he feels sad or ridiculous for him. Yunwoo glanced at Li Yan and said, "It's the first time I've ever met the self-proclaimed emperor. I just don't know if he's so powerful." At this time, although Yunwoo's face was ordinary with a little weakness, the momentum from her bright black eyes could really shock Li Yan, the second-generation ancestor. Plus the dragon with mask beside her. Li Yan swallowed his saliva and was unwilling to lose someone in the treasure pavilion. "Well done, dare you challenge me? I'm going to let you have a life to come and no life to come back." From the sound of cheering, Li Yan had already raised his fist to attack. No one expected that Li Yan would burst into action. Seeing that the sick woman was about to become the ghost of Li Yan's fist, the boy couldn't help but close his eyes. However, the scream of panic in the next second is not the expected female voice. The boy opened his eyelids, and then his eyes widened in consternation. He was so scared that he couldn't speak. The sick woman stood in the same place intact. On the contrary, it was Li Yan who had done evil deeds before. Now she lay on the ground and couldn't get up. Old Man Yao and Long Qingxie were the only two people who saw the whole thing clearly. Just now, in the face of Li Yan's sudden outburst, Old Man Yao can see clearly that the woman who doesn't look very good raises her leg and kicks Li Yan out of the room. Li Yan's strength is about in the middle of the third stage, which can make Li Yan have no power to fight back. This sick girl has more strength than Li Yan. Although the mid-third stage is not very strong, it is also very good among the younger generation. Who is this sick girl? Cloud Dance looked at Li Yan, who had only kicked a foot, but was seriously injured. He said coldly, "Young Master Li, how about it? You see, who will die to leave here now?" Li Yan vomited a mouthful of blood in his mouth. He looked at the Cloud Dance in horror and couldn't even speak. He has always been used to bullying in Xiaoyao town. Where has he been taught such a lesson? Just now, this woman obviously left room for her hand. If she didn't leave room, he would be a corpse now. Long Qingxie touched his angular jaw and said to Mr. Yao, "Mr. Yao, now, are you going to sell us Baiyongguo?" When talking, Long Qingxie looks at the Cloud Dance intentionally or unintentionally. The meaning is self-evident. Old Man Yao's face was half red and half white. After seeing the strength of Cloud Dance, he did have some hesitation. But how could he be willing to sell to such an ugly woman? Old Man Yao thought and said, "There are rules in Treasure Pavilion. You can't buy or sell by force. Do you want to break the rules?" Yunwoo didn't expect that the old man was so hard-skinned that when he saw Li Yan's end, he could still hold on and not sell things to her. "If there is a beauty to buy with you, you sell it?" Old Man Yao snorted, "I won't sell it to you anyway." Cloud Dance has no way to let her fight with an old man for no reason. She really can't do it. So Yunwoo had to look at the dragon. Long Qingxie frowned under the gaze of Yunwoo. However, after a long time, he seemed to hear him smile. He looked at Yunwoo with some evil in his smile. "Little thing, you have to sacrifice so much for your husband, how do you plan to compensate me?" Cloud Dance smile on the face, but the voice is light way, "Since you are so forced, then I will not force, I come." With that, Yunwoo reached out and touched his face. "Well, you win." The big hand held her little hand. Otherwise, anyone doubted, she moved her little hand that touched her face. Looking at the Cloud Dance in front of him, it makes Long Qingxie feel depressed. This girl is really good at learning. Now she knows how to threaten him in turn. However, the smarter the little thing is, the more reassuring he is. At least, it is more difficult for other men to take advantage of it. Except for him, of course. Old Man Yao listened to what they were talking about and saw what they were doing. Suddenly, he felt a little excited and interested. The thief stared at them. However, Seeing that Yunwoo's face didn't change after touching it, he immediately turned his attention to Long Qingxi and his eyes brightened. The boy looks good at that half of his face. He has no other hobbies, so he likes to see good-looking people. It's not because of any obscenity. It can only be said that everyone has a love for beauty. In the eyes of everyone's expectation, Long Qingxia also neatly lifted his hand and took off the metal mask on his face. The interior of Zhenbao Pavilion is full of candlelight, and the pearls inlaid on the walls reflect a soft and brilliant light, which makes the dragon's handsome and elegant face a layer of unreal halo. Looking at the dragon Qingxia's, several people are a little stupefied, have seen the handsome, have never seen so handsome and attractive. Long Qingxia was uncomfortable with old man Yao's surprise. He didn't expect that his identity would be reduced to the point of buying face. Cloud Dance looks at the Long Qingxia. After taking off the mask, the frown is slightly wrinkled, and the corner of the mouth is unconsciously slightly raised. I feel very satisfied with the sensation caused by Long Qingxia's face. Just when people were still addicted to his handsome face, Yunwu asked the old man heartlessly, "Old man, in this way, can we sell Bai Yongguo to us?" Old man Yao grabs the shiny Bai Yongguo from the stall and throws it directly to Yunwu. "Since I've come to buy it, I think I'm good at it. Just look at the money and give it to me. I'm in a good mood and don't care." Long Qingxia's forehead has a bunch of blue tendons beating suddenly. The old man is beating the flower girl. Is he looking for death? It's rare to see Long Qingxia's face. To tell you the truth, he has been bullied by this man. At this time, Yunwu's heart is very refreshing. Also quite schadenfreude of pat Long Qing evil shoulder, finally see him eat shriveled, really can't more happy. Seeing Cloud Dance's blatant smile, the corner of Long Qingxia's mouth moved, and finally narrowed his eyes and gave a warning. "Little thing, I'll put this account on that trash. If he dares to annoy me, he'll carve a tombstone for himself earlier." Yunwu holds Bai Yongguo in his hand and turns a deaf ear to his threat. "I don't have any money, you pay." With that, she took things and went out. Long Qingxia pays Bai Yongguo's money to old man Yao. Zhenbao Pavilion naturally wants to take out some commission. After the transaction is finished, the accountant behind the counter kindly reminds Long Qingxia. "This guest, although Li Yan is a straw bag, his father is really hard to provoke. If you take what you want, you'd better leave as soon as possible." "Thank you. I have my own plan." Long Qingxia's eyebrows are raised, and his eyes are shining. With his ability, how can he see the town bully in Xiaoyao town? What's more, Li Yan dares to attack Yunwu. Although he believes in Yunwu's strength, there is no middle interception. It doesn't mean that Long Qingxia doesn't intend to teach the Li family a lesson and let them have a long memory. When Long Qingxia returned to the outside of the town, he saw Erwolan standing on the ground with a bent face, while the two winged birds were flying in the air. Obviously someone was on it. "What's the matter?" Erwolan was dissatisfied and envious with Yunwu. This time, she finally found a chance. After turning her eyes a few times, she thought of the words. "Master, the woman didn't know what the trick was. As soon as she came back, she drove me down from the flying beast and left me alone with the dying trash. What's more," she said in the face of Erwolan's intentional desire to talk, Long Qingxia's eyes are very cold, but he looks at her with a strange sneer, and doesn't show half curiosity. Erwolan has been waiting for a long time, but can't wait for Long Qingxia to ask, so she is gradually embarrassed. "How long have you been with me, Roland?" "Back to the master, 10 years. Long Qingxia's sharp eyes flashed a little bloodthirsty. "I can't figure out my temper for 10 years. What's the use of leaving you by my side?" Roland turned pale and knelt down in a hurry. "Master, what Roland said is the truth. Saying these, just don't want master to be cheated by villains." Long Qingxia's face was cold, and there was no temperature in his eyes, which were carved like gems. "Oh. Well, you can tell me what Yunwu said. I'll listen to her how she cheated me." Roland's heart beat like a drum. I don't know how to say what I had planned. Long Xiao has begun to doubt her intentions. She goes on. If the woman gets off the flying beast and confronts her, can Long Xiao still believe her? Why not? Ruolan's forehead had big sweat oozing from her cheeks, splashing a little dust on the ground. Ruolan didn't dare to deceive her master. Then, the woman also said that she was just taking advantage of you. When the waist's injury is cured, they will leave alone. She didn't care about her master at all. Ruolan is not really stupid. She has some clues about the relationship between Yunwu and Long Qingxi. Therefore, the reason she made up is also based on this situation. What's more, what she said is exactly the way Yunwu always treats dragons evil. However, unfortunately, it is also a direct drawback of her lies. Long Qingxie shakes his head, with a little bloodthirsty pity and coldness. Yunwu never hesitated to say that in front of him, because that is her nature, and it is also her only special to him, and there is no need to disguise in front of him. But with Yunwu's temper, how can he say this to Ruolan? Ruolan, I've been with me for 10 years. I thought you would be a smart woman. When Ruolan heard the speech, she shook her shoulders and said, Master, Ruolan has been with you for 10 years. She will never cheat Master. I'm telling the truth. She really has no way out. Once she admits that she provokes the relationship between Yunwu and Long Qingxi, she is sentenced to death in front of Long Qingxi. She has always been very smart, and she knows how to control her propriety and look at her face, otherwise she would not have been with him for 10 years. However, cleverness is mistaken by cleverness. Ever since the woman who made Long Xiao change appeared, she couldn't sit still. It seems that you need to save your truth for your next master. Dragon Qing evil cold words fall, fingertips flick, an invisible force hit Ruolan's shoulder. Ruolan immediately found out in horror that the elixir field in her body seemed to have been torn open, and all the forces were rushing towards the crack. No! Master! Ruolan knew she was wrong. Give me a break. For a person who has been practicing for many years, nothing is more terrible than to make her become a useless person who has lost all her strength. A lot of power quickly spurts out of her body. Ruolan's clothes are torn by the power, but she has no time to care. Long Qingxie looked at the woman begging for mercy, but his eyes didn't fluctuate at all. This man said that he was affectionate, but sometimes he was absolutely cold-blooded and heartless. Maybe, his affections had been given to that woman since he first met her. For other women, except cold-blooded, he became heartless. Ruolan didn't see a little fluctuation from his eyes, and her despair was growing. Master, spare my life. Ruolan really knows that she is wrong. With your looks, you should have a good time here. After leaving such a sentence mercilessly, the dragon jumped to the back of the winged bird. On the ground, there was a loud, obscene voice of a man. During this time, Ruolan was crying and scolding. For these, Long Qingxie turned a deaf ear and was stingy of getting a little attention. Yunwu's mouth has never been reasonable and unforgiving, and he has always refused him thousands of miles away. However, he knows very well in his heart that he is the only special existence in front of her, and she is in his eyes, needless to say. Anyway, he will let that fierce stubborn little thing, one day willing to stay with him. It's just that it's not up to the second person. Yunwu leaned on the soft collapse with one hand and chin, looked at the dragon and pointed to the ground. No pain. Don't you just wait for me to help you get rid of her? The fierce color of the dragon's eyes was put away, bringing out a touch of banter and smile. Cloud dance noncommittal, indeed, her hand to clean up Ruolan name is not right. What's more, she's going to clean up the dragon's evil. What's the relationship between her and dragon's evil? It's always hard to say. That if Lin doesn't provoke her, it's okay, but after she comes back, she will be threatened to stay away from dragon. It's ridiculous. No matter whether she wants to be with the dragon or not, it's not her turn to tell her what to do. Little thing, when will you give me the compensation that my husband didn't get just now? Long Qingxie sits next to Yunwu and takes up her dark and cool hair to smell at the end of her nose. The action is so ambiguous that people want to blush. Yunwu is a little unnatural. She raises her hand and pulls out her hair from his hand. She touches it on the space bracelet, and an ingot of silver appears in her palm. Well, we don't owe each other. Long Qingxie collected the silver and said deliberately, the first thing that a little thing gave to her husband is something that she will treasure all her life. Yunwu is used to this man's faceless and skinless. However, he glances at Long San lying on the inner bed and thinks of Hao's medicine making. Long Qingxie, let's spend the night in Xiaoyao town. Little thing, can't wait to get married with my husband. This man's mouth is cheap, sometimes can't be a little more peaceful. Cloud Dance White Dragon Qing Evil One Eye, she is now can't wait to castrate him. Long Qingxie droops his eyes and doesn't know what to think, but in the end, he doesn't oppose the proposal of Cloud Dance. It's absolutely inconvenient to take Long San to the city. After thinking about it, Yunwu still lets Long Qingxie fly the winged birds into the air, leaving Hongling and Little Red Snake outside the city to protect Long San. She and Long Qingxie go to the city together. However, Yunwu beat Li Yan to death in the treasure pavilion of Furong Building. They are well known in Xiaoyao town. When the innkeeper saw that they wanted to stay, he begged his grandfather to tell his grandmother that they would change places. Finally, Yunwu and Long Qingxie come to the door of Furong Building. At night, the flower street is full of colorful lights. The painted flower girl stands against the door and whispers to the men who come and go. It's really a red powder array that makes people's bones crisp. Huan Yang, who led Long Qingxie and Yunwu into the treasure pavilion, recognized them at a glance and ran towards them with her skirt. You too, why haven't you left yet? Long Qingxie put on a look of innocence and said, my wife is tired of traveling, so she just wants to stay here for a night. Flower Nyang listens to this word's urgent straight stamp foot. Well, what if you just go to the next town and have a rest? The man surnamed Li is not easy to provoke. His father will come back from outside in the evening, and he will certainly come to you to settle accounts. You're here because nobody dares to stay in Xiaoyao town. Cloud danced to that Flower Nyang way, so, we come to see if there is any place, can take us to. Huan Yang hesitated, biting her lower lip in agony. At this time, a burst of fragrant wind came, and hearty laughter came from Furong Building. Ha, good, good. I don't have anything else in Furong Building, but I'm brave. Although you two live here tonight, I'll give you no room and board. Yunwu looked inside and saw a woman in red, with an ordinary appearance coming out of the Furong Building. Although this woman looks ordinary, her valiant demeanor is by no means what ordinary people can imitate. She laughs heartily and waves to Yunwu and Long Qing. Come in, please. Long Qingxie reaches out his hand to stop Yunwu, who wants to enter, and looks at the woman in red. Furong Building opens its door to do business, but the landlady loves to lose money so much. Doesn't it sound right? The woman in red looked at the dragon who had put on the mask again. She said with a smile, if I say that I'm just like old man Yao, I'm in a good mood when I see beauty. I don't care about money. Can you believe me? Dragon Qing evil hook lips, black eyes in the circulation of some evil. So the landlady has a crush on me? It's a pity that you're late. He's really an interesting man. Well, I'll tell you the truth. I'll stay with you because I want to see if someone can deal with them. In front of you, if you get into trouble, you can clean it up by yourself. Furong Building will not help you. Long Qingxie nodded and looked down at Yunwu. Little thing, what do you think? Yunwu likes the landlady's temper. If she can find a place to settle down, she nods and says, it's good for us to stay in Furong Building. Naturally, she won't bother the landlady to clean up those troubles. The landlady bows to Long Qingxie and Yunwu. The owner of the brothel doesn't smell of dust. Instead, she looks like a woman knight-errant. I'll wait to see how you two deal with it tonight. Yunwoo is a little distracted when she hears the word Hongnyeong. It's really weird to put the name here. Hongnyeong's reaction to Yunwoo was not surprising, and she said, "What I do in Furong Building is business. It's the so-called one-night husband and wife's 100 days grace. I'm a Hongnyeong every day." Cloud Dance picks eyebrow, again of dynasty that matchmakers saw one eye. Listen to the tone of this words, this boss Nyang probably is not simple role. However, Xiaoyao Town is really a different place. Even a brothel landlady is so interesting. Hongnyeong takes them to the empty room on the second floor and pushes the door open. "Although you two have a good rest, I think the old man named Lee should come soon. As long as you don't smash the girl in my building, the rest is up to you." Cloud Dance returns away. That time, Red Nyang remembers to let the girl hide far ahead of time some. "It's natural. When you fight, I'll let the girls go back to the room with the guests. Otherwise, I'll have to deal with my purse if I hurt anyone." After that, she went back to the first floor to deal with the guests. In the room, Yunwoo poured a cup of tea and said to the dragon, "What do you think of that matchmaker? Waifu, you like her very much. Why can't you trust her?" Cloud Dance Aleng, eye ground quickly brush over a touch of vicissitudes. However, it soon converged, looked up to drink all the tea, and then said coldly, "I can't believe anyone but myself in this world." Long Qingxie naturally caught her that fleeting color of vicissitudes of life. The bottom of my heart was gloomy. What did she go through? Why, Mingming is only 15 years old, but she always feels like a person from her last life. She always has a sense of exile. Especially for the relationship between men and women, he still remembers clearly. Last time, she said to him, "My heart has long been lost to feed wild dogs." What does that mean? Hurt by love? Or betrayed by a loved one? But, she a Cloud 9 young lady, even if is not favored the common girl, that also will not experience that some. As a matter of fact, he investigated her a lot at the beginning, almost all of them. However, the information from the investigation seems to be completely different from her. However, she is the real 9 miss of the Cloud family. She was mysterious, so that he has been unable to touch. What happened? Long Qingxie's doubts were running fast in his mind, but in the twinkling of an eye, he was back to his former lazy and evil posture. He stretched out his hand and dragged Yunwoo into his arm. His chin rested on her shoulder. He pretended to shake his head and said, "Little thing, you should trust me. How can you always forget?" Yunwoo's ears itch because of his warm breath. He raises his hand to give her a crutch, but it's easy for Long Qingxie to escape and get close again. Long Qingxie stretched out his hand and wrapped his delicate hands in the clouds. He said with a smile, "If you want to murder your husband, you have to wait for the things tonight to pass." Like in response to this sentence of Dragon Qingxie, there was a loud noise downstairs, followed by the scream of panic of the flower girls. Long Qingxie was very satisfied with his crow's mouth. He lifted it and opened the door. "In the future, I will be responsible for everything. Now let's go and avenge your husband." Yunwoo looks at Long Qingxie's bloodthirsty smile on his lips. Listening to his words, he feels palpitations at the bottom of his heart. He thinks there will be no palpitations in his life, but at this time Cloud Dance secretly took a breath, suppressed that kind of inexplicable change. However, seeing this man's smile at this time reminds her of the fate of those people in the law enforcement team of Everything Market. Inexplicably, she began to sympathize with the Lee family and his son. "I don't know if I can leave a whole body in the end." When Long Qingxie and Yunwoo walk down the stairs, the first floor of Furong Building is already in a mess, and the flower girls are missing. Hongnyeong sits on a table, smiling and watching several thugs smash all the tables, chairs and benches in Furong Building. Hongnyeong pulled the abacus, saw Yunwoo, they went downstairs and said to them, "I'm counting on you two to let me change a new set of furniture. Don't let me down." Cloud Dance jumps down from the corner of the stairs and says to Hongyang, "It turns out that the boss's wife paid attention to this, so we're at a loss." With a wave of her hand, Hongyang said boldly, "If it's done today, you two will come to my Furong building in the future. Food, drink and accommodation will be free. Jinbao Pavilion will take half of the commission less." Yunwoo and Hongyang are discussing, and a bench, bang, is smashed between them. Yunwoo's face was smiling slightly, and he turned to look at the thug who threw the stool. At first glance, he thought he was a pig-head-worshipping god. "Where's the fat pig? Why don't you go to the back kitchen to be slaughtered and come to the front hall to scare people?" Cool sarcasm. With a man for a long time, inadvertently, the mouth also began to learn some bad. That fat pig immediately blushes, the ear rises to scold away, "You this cheap woman, live tired of crooked? Don't make a noise." This short 2 words that fat pig seems to be sealed with paste mouth, really back to go back. At this time, in the middle of the back hall, a grand chair was placed. At this time, a handsome man was sitting there. If he didn't pay attention, he would be regarded as a scholar. Cloud Dance and that person's short sight intersection immediately recognized this person is definitely not so easy to deal with. Scholar. There is no scholar whose eyes are more chilling than poisonous snakes. The scholar-like man got up and bowed his hand to Yunwoo. He said politely, "Miss, I'm Li Yuansheng. I'm sorry to hear that my son bumped into you." Yunwoo thought that this man had a brother relationship with Li Yan, and he said, "My son," which really surprised Yunwoo. This man looks to be 267 years old. He is only 67 years older than Li Yan. Is he a father and son? Hongyang seemed to see what Yunwoo thought, and she said with a smile, "Girl, you don't know something. Every time you win an opponent, you will drain the opponent's strength. At the same time, you will keep his appearance like this. You haven't seen a 16-year-old or 17-year-old face when he started to work frequently. He's so tender that he can squeeze out water. Even I can't help pitying him." Li Yuansheng didn't want to hear about his appearance. He looked at Hongyang, and moved his lips. "Li Yuansheng, don't look at me like that. I'm not the one who beat your son. You hit and smash when you enter the door. I haven't settled with you yet." Li Yuansheng raised his hand and made a few empty points towards Hongyang, with an obvious warning. "You too, I apologize for my son's mistake. Now, it's time for you to pay a little price for hurting my son." Long Qingxie is always silent behind Yunwoo, like a silent and powerful backing, as if no matter what happens, he can solve the problem for Yunwoo. Cloud Dance glanced at Li Yuansheng and said coldly, "Wait a minute. It's your son who provoked us. What's the use of your apology? Then, do you not accept it? If you say accept it, we will accept it. Don't we lose face?" The Cloud Dance is light. The corners of Li Yuansheng's eyes suddenly tightened, and his eyes showed a light color of blood. "Little girl, you don't give me face. Now even if I want to let you go, my people won't let you go." Cloud Dance sneers away, "Don't say so sanctimonious, you arrogantly come to, is not for your son revenge. Now that you know it, I won't waste any more words. My son is bedridden by you. You too, break your legs and climb out of Xiaoyao town. I'll expose it to you." Cloud Dance laughs a few, turn ahead to see to Dragon Poor Evil. "I always thought you were the most arrogant. Now it seems that there are people out there." Long Qingxie's fingers flicked Yunwoo's forehead and looked at Li Yuansheng, who didn't know what to do. Those who have the courage to talk to him like this have already died. Now there's another one. It's really fresh. Although Li Yuansheng heard that it was Yunwoo who beat Li Yan to spit blood, to tell the truth, he didn't take Yunwoo seriously. Not to mention Yunwoo's ill face, Li Yuansheng knows what strength Li Yan has. Reluctantly relying on a variety of devious ways to pile him up to the 3rd level of strength, but I'm afraid that the aggressive and vain people are not as good as the 2nd level people. It was the man in the mask. Although he was silent all the time, Li Yuanqing suddenly felt nervous when he saw him. It's a kind of crisis that appears naturally when the lower creatures see the higher ones. Young master, may I have your name? Li Yuanqing has been able to live in Xiaoyao town to this day and become a bully, largely because he has always been very concerned about his sense of crisis. After all, those who win more will die sooner or later, but those who live longer are the real winners. Are you late for that? I'll tell you when I take off your legs. Long Qingxia leans lazily against the stair railing, with a kind of gloomy and evil expression in his smile, which cools the viewer's heart. Li Yuanqing listens to Long Qingxia's words and makes a big alarm in his heart. This man is by no means a layman. Today, he may be wrong. Hong Yang shouts to Li Yuanqing at the right time, I said Li's old man, why don't you tell me? Do you want to escape? Li Yuanqing glared at Hong Yang fiercely. No wonder she wanted to take these two people in. The bitch was just setting him up. However, what Hong Yang said was right. He came to the door in a big way, and now he can't return. If you really want to leave, not to mention the two faces will not let him go, Hong Yang, that woman is absolutely to make him a big bleeding. Li Yuanqing took a deep breath and settled down. He had been in Xiaoyao town for many years, and it was not the time that he didn't fight against the premonition of crisis. In the end, didn't he live to this day? This young man is not young, but he has a good voice. If you want to take off my legs, you have to see if you are worthy to do it with me. Dragon Qing evil smell speech cold voice Wei, interesting, not as good as this, you and I a move will win or lose, lost person, oneself cut off legs, how? Hong Yang's eyes changed when she heard this. This man is too big. Li Yuanqing has been in Xiaoyao town for many years, and he has a lot of means to protect his life. It's a big loss to win with him. Compared with Hong Yang's worry, Yunwu is more unexpected. No one in Xiaoyao town can recognize that Longqing evil is Long Xiao. Li Yuanqing, in particular, is a bit stupid, but it's amazing that he is so stupid. Li Yuanqing didn't care what other people thought at this time. He only knew that the conditions proposed by the young man were very beneficial to him. Li Yuanqing said hypocritically, since you have said that, I don't have much to say. Just do as you say. When Long Qingxia passed by Yunwu, he said to her, little thing, it's all for the sake of that rubbish. It's really demeaning for her to fight for her husband with such a fool. You'll have to remember that and make it up to Wei Fu one by one. It's natural for Yunwu to make amends to him when he opens his mouth and to make amends when he closes his mouth. Anyway, if he says his words, she will take them as if she didn't hear them, and everyone will be happy. Li Yuanqing's followers still think that their master still has the upper hand this time. When they see Long Qingxia coming here alone, they laugh. There is no lack of some indecent words about Yunwu. Long Qingxia's eyes are like a knife. He looks at those minions, just like a rooster who has been pinched. They are all dumb. In Furong building, there was no sound except the sound of Dragon's evil feet landing. Li Yuanqing tensed every inch of his skeleton and muscle, turned the fighting spirit in Dantian, and was ready to deal with his attack at any time. However, in front of the dragon, such a move is always doing ridiculous useless work. Cloud Dance originally wanted to see what it was like when Dragon poured evil into people's hands. Who knows, everything just started and ended in the blink of an eye. As the attacked person, Li Yuanqing only remembers that Long Qingxia raised his right hand to his neck at random. He even mobilized his fighting spirit to resist the attack that he did not know whether it existed or not. However, no matter what remedy he made, the most vulnerable part of his throat was still like a piece of tofu, which was easily cut by the invisible blade. Blood gushed out and poured all over Li Yuanqing's face. He twitched a few times in the chair, and even failed to leave his last words, so he was completely out of breath. Those who follow Li Yuanqing to show off their power are scared to pee their pants. They always think that in Xiaoyao town, Li Yuanqing will always be the most powerful. Now, Long Qingxia has solved Li Yuanqing's problem like crushing a bedbug. The impact on their world is really shocking. Can't you do what you said before? Cloud Dance complains, looking at the corpse that is dyed red by her own blood. She originally wanted to see how Li Yuansheng cut off her legs. Long Qingxie looks at Yunwu helplessly. If he doesn't know what's good or bad, he can't help but move the killer if he doesn't hear the dirty words of those minions. When I think of those rude bastards, the dragon turns cold. You guys, do it yourself, or I'll give you a ride. The minions knelt down when they heard this. They followed Li Yuansheng just because they could fake the tiger's power. They were really going to lose their lives. They were scared to death. Sir, spare your life, sir, spare your life. Young master, we will all listen to your instructions in the future. Please spare my life. The more Yunwu listens to it, the more he wants to laugh. Long Qingxie can kill his own law enforcement team directly. How many of them are needed? Long Qingxie's eyebrows brush a touch of impatience, sympathy. It's almost hard to find in him. Backhand rolled in the air a few times, a few fuzzy flesh and blood, hula fell on the glorious floor of Furong building. Hongyang didn't expect that he was so disgusting. She covered her heart and vomited a few times. She vomited all the wine she drank with her guests at night. It took a long time to slow down. I said, how do you let my people clean up? I've seen Hongling's cloud dance of foraging with my own eyes. I'm not surprised at the scene. I'm even used to it. I can still comfort Hongling. Hongyang, you just send these to the back kitchen to make some steamed buns and balls. Who can know the human flesh you use? Hongyang imagined the scene for a moment and could not help shivering. These two people, in the end, is not a person. How one then a terror. She bared her teeth and looked at the masses of flesh and blood and said, come on, I'd better let someone feed it to the dog. If it's made in the back kitchen, who dares to enter the back kitchen in the future? Yunwu pointed to Li Yuansheng's body and asked Hongyang, is that with you? Hongyang waved her hand and said, how can I do that? Of course I want to send Lao Li's body to his home. At least I have lived together in Xiaoyao town for so many years. Of course I want to leave a whole body for him. Yunwu doesn't express any opinions on this. If she really cares about her feelings, will she spare no effort to design so that Long Qingxie can fight with Li Yuansheng? It's Long Qingxie. It's strange that Yunwu will follow other people's arrangement. Long Qingxie killed several people, but his brocade robe was still as clean as new. Not even a drop of blood. Hongyang, I avenged you for your life. Should you give me some thanks? Hongyang's eyelids twitch, and she grins quickly, as if nothing had happened to her. I'm joking. Today, it happened that you had a feud with Li, and then you settled this matter with me? Long Qingxie looked at his palm print, and the smile on his lips was mocking. Hongyang, your husband and son died in the hands of Li Yuansheng. 5 years ago, you came to Xiaoyao town in disguise and opened Furong building to find a chance to avenge your husband and son. What I said is wrong. Cloud Dance accident of sea matchmaker 1 she originally thought this woman is a sallow person, didn't expect, there are these secrets behind. Hongyang definitely looked at the dragon for a while and suddenly laughed. It's worthy of Long Xiao. Long Ji's intelligence network is really powerful. Even this Xiaoyao town, which is always allowed to enter but not to leave, you can know it like the back of your hand. Hongyang put down her abacus and asked Long Qing, what do you want to thank you for, little dragon? As long as Hongyang can afford it, even if you want my life, I'll give it to you. It seems that this matchmaker did not know Long Xiao, but recognized it early in the morning, but pretended not to know, deep enough. It's no use if I want to come. I want something from Treasure House, and a piece of information about Warcraft Forest. Hongyang's eyes flashed, the things of Zhenbao Pavilion are less used with the dragon. You say a name, and I'll let people take it. The brocade box you collected in Treasure Pavilion, I only want it. Yunwu doesn't know if she's very attentive. She always thinks that Long Qingxie looks at herself before answering Hongyang. The things in the brocade box are obviously quite precious. If Hong Yang wants to take them out, it's also painful. But Long Qingxia avenged her. She can still afford to give her belongings. The intelligence of Warcraft Forest, which aspect does Long Xiao want? It's not Hong Yang's boasting. Even if the powerful intelligence network of Longa encounters the chaotic Warcraft Forest, it's not as clear as her treasure pavilion. After all, those who come back from Warcraft Forest will bring things to her for sale. She naturally collects the most information about it. Anything is fine. I'm just happy to hear it. Just pick the most sensational and attractive one recently. Hong Yang thought about it for a while, and said evil to the dragon, recently, the most popular thing in the Warcraft Forest is that a man with strange poison is looking for an antidote there. It is said that the man is Nanganji, the son of the national teacher of the Zhou dynasty. Hong Yang finished saying this, Cloud Dance eyebrow a pick. Nanganji? Flashed in my mind before in the border town all the way to meet the white clothes, floating for ferryman. She has no good relationship with Nangong Yi, but after all, she has been in the imperial city for some time. Now I suddenly heard that something had happened to this man. It's hard to avoid that I listened a little more attentively. However, since Nangong Yi is the son of the national master, there must be a guard around him. Moreover, it is said that the national master is a diviner. If there is anything wrong with Nangong Yi, how can he not know? But then again, with the ability of the South Palace Yi, can let him poison to go to the Warcraft Forest to seek the antidote in person, that person is afraid absolutely not simple. Cloud Dance meditation, let aside dragon poor evil, in the heart quite not taste, this little woman, when the person in the mind, only he. This day is not the dragon 3, now there is another Nanganji. To tell the truth, Long Qingxia is a man with strong possessiveness. For his own women, he likes Xuanba power very much. Especially the unique woman like Yunwu, who can be anti-bony in her bones. Long Qingxia saw that her woman seemed to be thinking about other men, and her face didn't stink. Little thing, one dragon 3 is not enough. Now there's another man. Believe it or not, why don't you let him die before he's poisoned? The cloud dance that takes back his thoughts is really like throwing him a white eye. However, he said to him directly, in this case, I should think about you several times a day. Should you commit suicide? Give me a clear ear. Long Qingxia smelled the words, but grinned, you are so active to think of me, how can I refuse? It's best that you can think of me 12 hours a day. You think it's beautiful. 12 hours a day. He wants her to miss him even when she sleeps. Cheeky enough. Of course it's beautiful. Come on, kiss one. Go away. Hong Yang listened to their bickering, covered her lips and laughed. Oh, my man and I used to love each other like this. I feel envious when I see you. Cloud Dance listened to Hong Yang's words, a depressed, but the bottom of my heart was touched by something, suddenly some unnatural. Hong Yang, do you have bad eyes? Who is in love with him? How can she show her love to him? It's too late to bother him. Isn't her brain broken? Hong Yang threw a look of, don't say I know, at Yunwu, and she started to shout to the upstairs with her hands akimbo. Roll down to me, do you want me to clean the battlefield? What's the use of raising you? As her voice just fell, it seemed that a certain switch had been turned on everywhere in Furong building, and a group of little boys, maids and flower maids were pouring out. When several flower nyangs saw the mass of flesh and blood, they jumped and screamed a few words. They were scolded by Hong Yang. They sat on the table beside them and watched the boy pack up the corpses with sacks and drag them to the backyard to feed the dogs. Cloud Dance can see how strong the endurance of the people in Xiaoyao town is. How many screams do they scream for fun? When the boys cleaned up the first floor, Hong Yang ordered people to rearrange the rest of the tables and chairs. Soon, the Furong building was a beautiful scene of singing and dancing. Only the body of Li Yuansheng in the middle of the hall was out of place with the people drinking and laughing around. Hong Yang went to Yunwu and said to her, "Girl, go to have a rest early. You can't trouble them for the rest." Yunwu sees some hatred in Hong Yang's smile. She thinks that her husband and children have been poisoned by Li Yuansheng. She has endured it for 5 years now. It's not enough for Li Yuansheng to die. Yunwu left a message for her before she went upstairs. "If you need any help, just shout out. It's time to help if you live and eat for nothing." Hong Yang stared at their back as they went up the stairs, with a sad smile on her face. If I had met these two people 5 years ago, maybe nothing would have happened today. Not long after that, Yunwu heard the noise downstairs, and the sound of weapons connecting each other was endless. She sat opposite Long Qingxie and drank slowly. No one came down to interfere. Yunwu listened to the movement downstairs and said to himself, "Where is Xiaoyao town? Everyone is fighting hard for money and money." Even looking at the free and easy Hong Yang, there is a deep hatred in her heart. She has endured for many years and got revenge once. Now, it's time to kill her. Long Qingxie seldom heard Yunwu's pitiful tone, so he looked at her more. "Little thing, there is nothing really free in the world." The dragon was lying on his back on the brocade couch, his black hair curling out like a jade face. Under the light, his face was very delicate and charming, and it was like the evil gods coming out of the painting. Yunwu was watched by his starry eyes. For a moment, he was bewitched and couldn't move his eyes. "Little thing, are you obsessed with your husband?" Long Qingxie leans close to Yunwu. Her index finger picks up her jaw and appreciates Yunwu's expression. Cloud Dance's face turns cold, claps the hand of Dragon Qingxie, and then pushes him back to the brocade couch. "I'm going to have a rest. Don't make trouble." What Hong Yang prepared for them was a suite inside and outside. In such a place as Furong Building, this kind of room is hard to find. Yunwu takes the lead and enters the inner room by himself. He also hangs the door bolt to prevent the dragon and evil spirits. Long Qingxie, who was pushed down on the brocade couch, heard the sound of Cloud dancing hanging the bolt on the door, and slightly squinted at the door with some light. This little thing, from the beginning of insisting on entering Xiaoyao town, is very wrong. What is it hiding from him? In the inner room separated by one door, Yunwu seized the time to sink into the sea of consciousness and entered the Hall of Chaos. Black Ao is sitting under the fairy fruit tree in a daze, see Cloud Dance to come, also have no reaction. Cloud Dance looked at the fairy fruit tree that had grown a dense crown and said in amazement, "How can this tree grow so fast?" Hio looked up at the green color on his head. All the anger here is given to it. If it's not fast, it's strange. Cloud Dance also felt reasonable after listening to it. In addition, it was more anxious now, so it didn't continue to worry about it. "Hio, I've bought all the herbs you said." Hio takes the medicinal materials from Yunwu and points to the outside world. "I'm not afraid that man outside will find me." Yunwu is really worried about this, because Hio's alchemy needs to come out of Chaos Hall. If Long Qingxie knows about Hio, there may be some trouble. "You should have a way to hide your tracks." "Yes, but I don't want to." "Why do you want to hide from a mere human?" Black proud of face, proud of negative hand and stand, posture in some arrogant meaning. Cloud Dance long sigh, to the black way, "Do you want me to use master-servant contract?" Black Ao's face is slightly stiff, even if it's black, Cloud Dance can feel it, his face seems to be worse. Hio checked the herbs one by one. It seems that he is not reconciled to the contract between master and servant. "I'll find a quiet place in Xiaoyao town and come back early tomorrow morning." With that, Hio flicked a wisp of black smoke around Yunwu's wrist. The smoke rubbed around Yunwu's wrist happily for several times. Finally, it disappeared under her skin, leaving only a small black spot on the inside of her wrist. "With this, I know everything that happens to you. If there's a big danger, I'll get there if I cut the fog bead on the inside of my wrist." Cloud dance in the heart slightly a warm, black AO is really her safety to hang up, just a short night, have to do these precautions. However, Yunwoo doesn't know that her cold heart has been warmed by others many times since she came to this strange world, and she also has a return of gratitude. However, she may not find that the man who has been playing around her is actually a man who can lay down his life for her. But her attitude to him seems to have been in the current model of simulated ambivalence from the beginning. You advance and I retreat, you attack and I defend. Seemingly, it seems that there has never been a real intersection of hearts and feelings. Yunwoo has always thought that if she has no heart, how can she be in love? In fact, maybe Yunwoo doesn't know that she can repay kindness and revenge for anyone. Can only for this man, is regardless of enmity, since I know him, a pair of heartless, seemingly no love to receive, but also silently bear his good. This kind of emotional world. Who can understand? To be honest, Lien Yunwoo herself is still in a state of ignorance. One person and one shadow leave Chaos Hall. After coming out, Yunwoo first took a look at the door bolt to make sure that Long Qingxie had not come in, and then he was relieved. She lowered her voice and asked Hyo, "Where are you going to make medicine?" Hyo pushed open the window and looked around. Finally, he pointed to the southeast direction and nodded to Yunwoo. Cloud danced toward there to see One Eye, don't know is Black AO specially point out of reason, she always feel that the location of the breath let a person feel very comfortable. Hyo pressed the fog bead on the inside of Yunwoo's wrist with his fingertips. Then, the whole person turned into a black fog and melted into the night. Yunwoo looks at the southeast direction uneasily. After entering Xiaoyao town, there are so many things. I don't know if I can spend the night peacefully. The door was easily pushed open from the outside, and the bolt fell to the ground, which obviously had no effect on the people outside. Little thing, who are you talking to? Cloud Dance turns back to see to Long Qingxie, frown away, you how don't knock on the door to come in. Long Qingxie looked thoughtfully at the open window. After a long time, he just laughed. Little thing, you haven't answered me. Who were you talking to just now? Cloud Dance calmed down, face not red, breathless way, I can talk to who, Furong building so noisy, you hear wrong. Long Qingxie's sharp eyes fell on Yunwoo's face with a smile. Every minute, every inch, he swept the expression on her face carefully. Just when Yunwoo thought that Long Qingxie would continue to ask, he suddenly relaxed. That's right. Maybe I heard it wrong for my husband. Long Qingxie walks to the bedside and looks southeast. There are so many things to worry about today, little thing. Let's go to enjoy the moon with my husband. When Yunwoo looked southeast from Long Qingxie, he was very upset. Now when he heard that he was going out, he knew that he didn't give up at all. Instead, he wanted to go to Hyo himself. Cloud Dance in the heart of a few ideas quickly turned, finally decided to deal with. I don't need to watch the moon. I still want to go back and see Dragon 3. I don't think there will be anything else tonight. Long Qingxie's lips moved, as if he wanted to say something, but he didn't say it in the end. Well, being husband is always your favorite. You can go wherever you want. His face was still wearing the familiar evil smile of Cloud Dance. But the eyes always make Yunwoo feel gloomy, as if the mountain rain is coming. Downstairs is still in turmoil, Dragon Qing evil and Cloud Dance just opened the door. Cloud Dance was flushed from the bloody gas, choked can't help but frown back a step. It's the dragon's evil spirit. It doesn't adapt to this kind of breath. Cloud Dance even has an illusion. Dragon pour evil, like from instinct, like this strong smell of blood, encounter blood, the whole body exudes a strange infiltration of evil cold. When they went downstairs, they saw Hongyang sitting on an empty table with an abacus, happily calculating something. Hongyang watched them go downstairs, took out a brocade box from her sleeve and threw it to Long Qingxie. Long Xiao, this is what you want. When you come back to my small place next time, remember to take care of the business of my treasure pavilion. Long Qingxie said with interest, "You are still the first one who expects me to appear for the second time." Hong Yang just laughed and waved to them. She didn't pay much attention to the leader of Longa, the richest man in the three kingdoms. Cloud Dance thinks, Long Qingxie, for Hong Yang, is really just a person who helped her to avenge her blood. Originally said to go to see the Dragon 3, but also just Cloud Dance a pretext. There are Hongling and Xiahongsh on the back of the flying beast. In fact, they are not good-looking. However, when Yunwu and Long Qingxi stand outside Xiaoyao town and see the clean and empty sky night scene, Yunwu frowns. 2 flying beasts are gone. The cloud dances the eye to sweep around the empty space, but how all can't find any trace of the flying beast. The connection with Hongling still exists, but there is no reaction from Hongling. This is really strange. What's going on? Long Qingxie came over lazily, didn't shrug his shoulders and said, "Maybe the flying beast flew away." "What do you mean, the flying beast flew away?" Cloud Dance frowns at that dragon to pour evil, see his that a pair of indifferent expression, to tell the truth, heart a evil fire comes up, want to be angry impulse. Long Qingxie was still lazy, but his eyes were sharp and staring at her. "Little thing, should you answer my question before I answer your question? Why lie to me?" Long Qingxie pinched Yunwu's jaw and said with a smile, "Do you really think I'm too stupid to distinguish between the noise coming from the room and the noise outside?" Cloud Dance looks at the eyes of Dragon Qingxie, and her heart beats fast without control. Yes, Long Qingxie has been so harmless in front of her recently that she has forgotten the other side of this man. Yunwu was not willing to admit defeat, but he made her angry. "Long Qingxie, you haven't made it clear. There's no relationship between you and me that we have to explain everything." In a word, completely angered a man. The dragon's evil eyes flashed and looked at the clouds like anger and interest. "Little thing, you can feel my temper clearly, and begin to know how to put aside the cruel words." He loves Cloud Dance, which is cruel and resolute, but he can't stand her lying to him. After all, when he knew she was lying. "I'm not interested in your temper." Yunwu doesn't want to quarrel with him, subconsciously wants to turn around and leave. Dragon Qing evil swept one eye Cloud Dance of action, malcolor more deep down. "Little thing, as long as you tell the truth now, I can take it as if nothing happened." The truth? Why should she tell him all about herself before she can tell the truth? What about him? From the beginning to now, she knew nothing about him except his 2 identities. He concealed her, but she was no less than her. Why is this man so strong to ask her? Believe it or not. Yunwu was a little annoyed and then turned to leave. "Can just walk a step," was stopped by the man, obedient, "answered me first." Cloud Dance raised Mao to see that already completely cold the man of the face. "I return to don't answer to have so important." "Then you may fail." After that, Yunwu wanted to push away the hand that blocked her. But as soon as he touched it, he was pulled by his backhand. Yunwu was also a subconscious action. He caught her alive with his backhand, but he was so quick that he grabbed her with his backhand. How did this scene happen? Maybe, in a flash. Long Qingxie's hand is clasped in Yunwu's throat. With a little effort, Yunwu's life can be cut off. "Good, answer me. Is an answer really that important?" Looking at this familiar and strange dragon, I don't know why, the heart of Cloud Dance suddenly filled with sadness. There is a kind of sadness when the last life was betrayed. Sure enough, no one in the world could believe it except herself. Even if the man who sticks to her all day and protects her everywhere, what he wants is nothing but a obedient possession. As long as he is out of his control, isn't he going to solve this mistake now? Think of here, Cloud Dance heart seems in an instant, a nameless fire. With hate, it seems to take a full life, the kind of early betrayal of the pain and heartache. No longer half hesitated, the metal light of the space bracelet flashed on her wrist, and a fine sword appeared in her hand. Long Qingxie looks at the thin sword in Yunwu's hand with a complicated look. "Little thing, you are so cruel." How can you deal with Wei Fu with the sword you gave him? Cloud Dance's eyes at this time with the inexplicable vicissitudes of grief, look cold. Wei, with this to send you on the road, is not the most appropriate. Before the words were heard, Yunwu injected the fighting spirit of flame into the sword body. The thin sword was like a burning fire wrapped in a layer. With the smell of scorched air, it attacked the dragon fiercely. However, in the next second, all the hatred and grief in Yunwu's heart were dispelled. Fundus is that incomparable consternation, Zhengleng looking at the man in front of him. I saw that the dragon was not fighting back or avoiding. He took the sword. Are you crazy? In shock, Yunwu draws the sword with his backhand, but brings more blood from the wound of dragon's evil spirit. The bright red splashes on Yunwu's face, and the hot temperature makes Yunwu feel at a loss. Why? Long Qingxie's cold face had softened at this time. He chuckled and looked at the blood hole on his shoulder. I just want to see if you really have the heart to fight for my husband. Long Qingxie rubbed his hand against the wound and sent the red blood from his fingertips to his mouth. It looked like a demon born from blood-sucking. In fact, he didn't really force her to answer that question. He forced her to be the real one, the one who has been hiding in the deepest part. It turns out that what he guessed was right, her heart. I'm hurt. Just that moment, he read from her eyes, the hatred, sadness, pain, and disappointment. Those, not all from him, but from the bottom of her heart inspired. Who is the one who made her so sad? At this moment, the pain is not the wound on the shoulder, but the feeling of needling. It's very uncomfortable. He's jealous, really jealous. Of course, at this time, Yunwu didn't know what was in his heart, and even less did he know that he just wanted to take the opportunity to force out the deepest side of her heart. On the contrary, Yunwu's mood was so complicated that he could not wield his sword again. Her right hand swayed, and the flame on the sword disappeared quickly. A touch of worry flashed through his eyes. He looked at the wound of Yanlong Qingxie's shoulder, but he didn't bandage it. Anyway, his healing speed was several times faster than that of ordinary people. Just let it heal itself. How tired are you to carry so much and hide so deeply? Dragon Qingxia stares at Cloud Dance of Say. Cloud Dance sign Leng for a while, lift Mao to see toward him. What does he mean by that? Dragon Qing evil at this time, but suddenly stretched out his hand to hold her, regardless of her push resistance, is so strong to hold her tightly in his arms. Hold tightly, however, it is different from the past that is not serious. This time, he didn't move much, just hugged her tightly and said nothing. Yunwu wanted to push him away, but in his spacious and stable arms, he slowly calmed down, as if his heart had an unprecedented stability. How long did it take? I don't know. I only know that a word from a man broke the peace. Little thing, your EQ is so low, how can I rest assured? Remember, in the future, I can't take a fancy to other men except for my husband, but I will be jealous, and when I get jealous, the consequences will be very serious. Now Yunwu can't tell exactly what it feels like. It's a bit chaotic, and it's a bit chaotic at the bottom of her heart. However, this man is really a madman. 1 second ago, he pinched her neck to kill her. The next second, he got a sword from her and held her for a long time, saying such a strange thing. What's her low EQ? She's natural, she's very good at IQ. However, I really don't have the strength to care about those with him at this time. Come on, let's get back to business. Where did you get them from, Hongling? Long Qingxie regained his true colors and looked at the knight. He innocently said to Yunwu, when did you say that you hid that waist for your husband? When Yunwu heard this, she almost vomited blood with anger. I can't help but point my sword at the dragon and ask, don't you know? Don't you know you just played hard with me? How white did she get a sword? Long Qingxie wrote 4 words on his face, I am innocent. Wei Fu said that you talked with others in the room. You misunderstood it. Is that so? But she remembers that he didn't say that at first. Cloud Dance also don't want to talk nonsense with him from the beginning, and put the thin sword into the space bracelet. Hongling is still on it, but I can feel it, but I can't contact it. Something must have happened. Do you know where it is? I'm in a bad mood for my husband. I don't know. Long Qingxie intentionally or unintentionally shakes the shoulder wound in front of Yunwu's eyes, making it clear that he doesn't intend to cooperate. Yunwu bit his lower lip and squinted at his black eyes. He couldn't help slapping his shoulder wound. In that case, I'll find it myself. You can walk slowly and enjoy the moon to cultivate your good mood. Think that the wound exposed to her, she will remorse heartache. Funny. I don't want to know who is the first to meddle in her business, and who is the first to pinch her neck and threaten her. She won't do it. He asked for it. It's useless for her to have such a bitter plan. Long Qingxie sighed, as if helpless. He turned his hand and grabbed Yunwu's wrist to carry her into his arms. Little thing, you can always be tender and affectionate to others. Why are you so merciless to your husband? From the beginning, Yunwu didn't know how many conflicts he had with him. It's really sad to think about it. Long Qingxie thought in his heart, why don't you kill the dragon 3 tonight, so as to save him more prevention all the way. Cloud Dance pondered for a while, but did not give face, because others do not have your thick skin. Is that wonderful? I don't think so. However, looking at the man in front of him, he seemed to have heard something praising him. He was so beautiful that his mouth cracked to his ears. Is that exaggeration? However, in the silence that Yunwu couldn't understand, the corner of his eye suddenly came and saw some shining things not far away. Yunwu immediately broke away from Kai Long and picked up those things. It turned out to be 3 black pearls. Well, this thing is. Long Qingxie wants to talk and stop, but he doesn't talk anymore. Seeing this, Yunwu knew who it was. She glanced at the dragon and narrowed her eyes. If I remember correctly, it's from your beautiful maid. Long Qingxie looks at those black pearls and finds a jade plate from a cold iron ring in his hand. Yunwu finds out that the ring of dragon's evil spirit is just like her bracelet, and it's also a storage of hidden space. However, there seems to be something special about his ring. To be specific, she doesn't quite understand it. Although I abandoned her martial arts, she still stayed with me for 10 years and wanted to save her life. It seems that she really doesn't want to settle down. Long Qingxie seemed to explain to Yunwu. After that, he crushed the jade plate into powder with a little effort. Slender 5 fingers open, broken jade powder scattered with the night wind, leaving no trace. At the same time, Xiaoyao Town came a very sad scream, even if it is so far away, still can make people a little chilly. Dragon inclined evil hook lip a smile, I ground some bloodthirsty, found. Little thing, let's go. Go and ask her where you've got that rubbish. When Yunwu and Long Qingxie follow the scream, they find out how miserable Ruolin is now. There are many brothels in Xiaoyao Town, but they are also divided into 3, 6, and 9 grades. It's like Furong Building. Naturally, a lot of benefactors come to the door with money. However, with Furong Building, there are also those dilapidated places that can only be used by people of the same rank and file. And Ruolin is in such a place where even the house is dilapidated and seems to fall down at any time, and the road is so dirty that it's hard for people to get off. The bastard with heavy makeup and fat body is waving inferior silk scarves, and looks like a ghost at night. Oh, young master, we can't bring our own women here. Long Qingxie throws an ingot of silver, which happens to be stuck in the procuress's mouth. I want to find the woman who just screamed and bring her to me. The procuress quickly took out the silver from her mouth and said with a smile, yes, please wait a moment. In the dark building, several rude-looking men are teasing and drinking with Huan Yang. Seeing the dragon and Cloud Dance coming in, they can't help chasing them. For nothing else, it's because Long Qingxie, who doesn't wear a mask, is too handsome. His appearance, even among women, is rare. These men are used to seeing the ordinary low-grade Huanyang. At this time, when they see the dragon's evil, can anyone not look at it? Long Qingxia made those people's naked eyes very upset. He picked up a few chopsticks on the table and threw them out with his backhand. All of a sudden, there was a howl in the hall. The men staring at the dragon were all blinded. Seeing this scene, the flower girls were so scared that they left the guests and ran away alone. In Xiaoyao town, one thinks about how to save his life in advance, which is the only survival secret. When Madame let people carry Ruolin out, she saw the chaotic scene in the hall, scolded a few words, and let the boy throw people out. Anyway, they are all coolies. When they die, and no one will trouble her. Young master, I brought you the person you are looking for. She's just like this. I'm afraid she can't serve you anymore. Cloud danced along the pimp's fat hand to see past, just see if Lin now of miserable appearance. The clothes on her body were obviously put on carelessly. They didn't fit at all, and even the belts were tied in a mess. As for Yu Wolin's beautiful face, it's probably related to Long Qingxia's crushing jade. At this time is actually a piece of flesh and blood blur, as if someone had been forced to use something to dissolve the skin a little bit. Long Qingxia throws a ding of silver to the procuress again and drives her out. Wolin's face was bloody, but her eyes were the same. When she saw the dragon coming, she was so frightened that she almost opened her eyes. Long Qingxia went to the place 3 steps away from Ruolin, then he frowned and stopped. Come on, where did you get that trash? Now, in the past, I will give you a pleasure. If you dare to do anything else, you should be very clear about the punishment of the Dragon Pavilion against the traitor. Although Longa is in the eyes of the public, it has gathered the commercial wealth of the 3 kingdoms and belongs to commerce. However, the underground development of the Dragon Pavilion is numerous, and in order to suppress some rebellious behavior, everyone who enters the inner layer of the Dragon Pavilion will be planted with a special jade pendant. As for the effect, if you look at Ruolin at this time, you can see that once the jade pendant is crushed by the master and injected with toxin, there is no medicine to solve it. Soon after, you will be alive and feel your whole body festering and melting, and become the pain of bones. Life is not like death. Ruolin vaguely uttered a few syllables in her throat, but she could not express anything except fear. Cloud Dance looks at the cruel means of dragon's evil. To tell the truth, it's cruel. Even a killer who steps on the dead feels cruel. It's conceivable. Yunwu found that Ruolin's vocal cords seemed to have been damaged, and frowned at Long Qingxi. Even if she said this, she couldn't hear what it was. Long Qingxia is not worried about this. Well, I wish I could understand. With that, he cut his fingertips with his fingernails and lowered a drop of blood on Ruolin's forehead, merging with Ruolin's flesh and blood. Say, where did you get that trash? Ruolin repeated a few syllables sadly. Obviously she was determined to die, and didn't want to bear the pain of feeling herself turned into bones. Perhaps, she had been in Longa for 10 years. She knew the punishment of Longa best, which made her really afraid. After hearing this, Long Qingxia said to Ruolin, I originally saved your life. Unexpectedly, you want to die so much. Ruolin's eyes turned, and there were tears oozing out, but she soon melted into the continuous flow of blood, leaving no trace. People are hidden by her. As for punishment, you come, I'm too lazy to dirty my hands. With that, the dragon turns and leaves without mercy. Looking at the departing dragon Qingxia, Ruolin's shrill sobbing sound is a tragedy. Cloud Dance saw a not adult form of Ruolin, really don't know should sympathize with her, or pity her. But there must be something hateful about poor people. Maybe it's kindness to kill her at this time. The thin sword appears in the palm, and the backhand, a convenient sword, pierces Ruolin's throat. Stop the sword. Yunwu winds the flame around the body of the thin sword, evaporates the blood on it and puts it away again. Where are the people? Long Qingxia looks at the cloud dancing, and then he knows what she is thinking. This little thing is heartless. What if he killed all the people in the world before he really got her heart? She is so heartless and low EQ, really feel the road ahead, hard ah. But in that way, other men's chances are not big, so it's good. At this time, Long Qingxie suddenly looked at the cloud dance with a strange smile. She said she sent the flying beast to the southeast of Xiaoyao town. Wolin was made useless by him, and suffered all kinds of humiliation in Xiaoyao town. She had exhausted her strength to guide the flying beast to the southeast. It's just that they have a lot to do with this position tonight. Cloud Dance is suspicious of looking at Dragon Qing evil, want to see he is really from if Lin Mouth asked direction. Or, just to go southeast to find Hio. This man has been thinking about, but also always thoughtful, do he feel the existence of black pride? Dragon Qing evil see Cloud danced out, not happy way, little thing, if you don't believe, then we'll go back to Furong building, maybe tomorrow morning, those flying beasts will fly back. Yunwu takes back her sight, turns around and goes out. Let's go and have a look. Even in the southeast, you don't have to meet black pride. With the ability of black pride, it should not be difficult to hide the trace. Xiaoyao town was not a big place, and both of them were very fast. In a short time, they arrived at the place where the flying beast stayed in Wolin's mouth. In front of me is a deserted mansion. With the bleak moonlight tonight, I feel a bit haunted. Is it really here? The clouds danced around, not to mention the winged birds. They didn't even see a feather. Long Qingxie was not in a hurry and said, the flying beast needs human guidance to move. When it is suddenly brought here, it is hard to avoid panic. However, it won't run too far. It will be found soon. Let's look for it separately. It's faster. Long Qingxie looks at Yunwu and reaches for her side face. Her cold fingertips give Yunwu the illusion that the blade is touching her skin. Little things, don't play tricks. Let's look for them together. I really don't think he can see that since he entered this area, this little thing has been a little restless. They walked into the red lacquer gate with only half a leaf left. The red lacquer on the door fell off. When Yunwu stepped on it, he could hear the crisp sound of gotcha gotcha. There is something strange in Yunwu's heart. How can people in Xiaoyao town let such a big house be empty here? The whole town says it's haunted. Do you dare to live here? What dare not? I am not afraid of people, but also afraid of illusory ghosts. Cloud Dance despises the theory of gods and ghosts. In this world, how can there be anything more terrible than the unpredictable human heart? Well, I like you little thing, so bold. Dragon Qing evil smell speech smile voice, regardless of Cloud Dance struggle, holding her to go inside. Cloud Dance is very awkward by him, so close, she has no way to try to feel the black proud position through the master-servant contract. In case Hio is discovered by Long Qingxie at the critical moment of refining medicine, what can be done? Before Yunwu, he was saved by Hio in the event of the sorcerer's holy fire. He was always worried about his safety at this time. Dragon 3. Dragon 3, where are you? Yunwu has nothing to do, so she has no choice but to do two things. I hope this kind of shouting can make Hio give early warning. Long Qingxie held Cloud Dance's arm tightly and asked, little thing, in my husband's arms, calling other men, do you want to be angry to death for my husband? Cloud Dance stares at him, if you are really so easy to be angry, I really want to thank God. At that time, it's not only her worry, but also Long San and Hio are safe. Long Qingxie smacked his tongue and said, I knew you had no conscience. I should have taken you around a few more times. How could I have brought you directly to find that waste? Cloud Dance looks at the past along the dragon's evil eyes, and sees two winged birds and flying beasts flapping their wings slowly in mid-air, with a leisurely posture. Cloud Dance heart loose, toward the direction of the flying beast called a master. Come and save Hungling. In the moonlight, a fat-headed flower bud monster appeared on the strong neck of the winged bird. Rao Shi, a flying beast who can bear many loads, was bowed by Hongling and gave out a birdsong. Yunwu is amused by Hongling's stupid appearance. I thought it was so powerful that I couldn't get down in the sky. I had to wait for someone to save it. Alright, I'll be right there. Cloud dance should be a, turn head to sea to Long Qingxie. No way, she can't drive and control the winged bird, so she will let the dragon go to work. Long Qingxie thought that he was reduced to such errands and pinched Yunwu's face. Little thing, wait here for your husband. Don't run around. If your husband finds you running around, you know the consequences. Cloud dance waved to open the hand of Dragon Qing evil, urge away, you have not finished, still not quick to take back the winged bird. Long Qingxie endured the qi all night, and finally broke out in the attitude of cloud dance. He reached out to hold the back of Yunwu's head, pressed his upper body down, and bit Yunwu's lips. This gnawing action has nothing to do with kissing. As soon as the cloud dance's lips hurt, it can be seen that Long Qingxie has straightened up. On the other side's beautiful thin lips, there are blood beads from her lips. Do you belong to a dog? Bite at any moment. Cloud dance backhand wiped on the lip, that prickly feeling lets her repeatedly frown. Long Qingxie laughed and threatened, little thing, don't you want your tongue? As soon as Yunwu was about to retort, Long Qingxie flicked her forehead, and then went to control two flying beasts to land at low altitude. Time is pressing, Cloud Dance has to swallow this tone, use master-servant contract, and also in the southeast of Black AO mutual induction. As soon as the power of the contract was opened, Yunwu was startled by the strong negative atmosphere from the Black Proud side. Black Pride? Are you okay? Black Proud silent for a while, just suppress voice to return to the words of Cloud Dance. It's okay. If it's difficult to refine medicine, don't be too brave. I'm fine. Cloud Dance listened to Black Proud voice more and more irritable, in the heart also more and more worried. Hayo, after we leave, you can follow us. Find a time to return to Chaos Palace. There's nothing wrong with you. Don't you understand? After the medicine is refined, I will go back. Cloud Dance Leng Leng, she has been for a long time, did not hear Black AO so talk with her. Recently, even if Hayo uses my seat to call himself, he is mostly joking. He has never used such a tone that he does not look at her in his eyes. I'll go first. You should be safe. Yunwu doesn't have the habit of sticking her hot face to other people's cold buttocks. Since Hayo is ungrateful, she doesn't have to say much. Long Qingxie controls the two flying beasts to land in the open space outside the wasteland, and then comes back to lead the cloud to dance out. What's the matter, little thing, with such a bad face? Cloud Dance calm face way, probably is to see you not agreeable. Long Qingxie choked on this sentence and almost lost his smile. He pointed to the wound on his shoulder. Little thing, is my husband the one who is most wrong tonight? Cloud Dance looked at it at will, but found that the blood of Dragon's wound was wet, and it didn't heal much. What happened to your wound? Long Qingxie said, this is the wound you left for my husband. Of course, I don't want it to heal and disappear too soon. Cloud Dance looks at the dragon's evil eyes, it's really depressed and speechless, or it's already reached the point of helplessness. Glib man. After Yunwu came out of the deserted house, Long Qingxie put a calm face on his wound. In the moonlight, the dragon looks at his hand full of blood and mumbles to himself. Tut, I really shouldn't have come to find this tired little thing without taking care of my wound. It seems that the situation was as serious as he expected. Long Qingxie sighs in secret, but he doesn't intend to let Yunwu know about him. Now he just hopes that there won't be too many festivals on the way. With Ruolan's lesson of taking away flying beasts, Yunwu didn't let Hongling Longson leave them alone in the wild this time. Although let Hongling and Little Red Snake stay, in name is to protect Dragon 3, but the fact is, Hongling such a gesture is really shameful. What's more, if they are in the air, if anything happens, one in the sky and the other on the ground, there is still nothing to do. Is it difficult to make Hongling jump down and fall into the mud? So, they didn't go back to Xiaoyao town. They decided to rest on the back of the flying bird for one night. Back out of Happy Town. Long Qingxie suddenly said to the cloud, "Little thing, in order not to murder your husband tonight, my husband still won't sit with you in the same flying beast." Yunwu was quite surprised by the Long Qingxie statement. He felt that his behavior was abnormal and strange. However, Long Qingxie took the initiative to ask them to stay apart. For her, there was no reason to refuse. It was very good. Two people this time tossed down already arrived after midnight. The bright moon is hanging high in the sky, and there are many stars. The clear and cloudless night sky is like a piece of velvet cloth flooding in the black, carrying the shining stars all over the sky, which makes people not see enough. Long San didn't know whether he had slept much before or was shocked by the changes tonight. When Yunwu saw him, Long San was very energetic and couldn't see any difficulty. Dragon 3 Sorry to Cloud Dance Way, Cloud Dance, I give you trouble again. Cloud Dance Calm Way, don't say those, Wound how, now give you change dressing, or wait until tomorrow. Long San hasn't spoken yet, and Hongling just interrupts. Master, this man is useless. When the winged bird flies, he is scared to cry. Long San looks at Hongling with embarrassed eyes and can't say anything to refute. Cloud Dance's eyes flashed and looked at Dragon 3. When the winged bird flies, will Dragon 3 almost cry? It's not like that Dragon 3, who is calm all the time, will react. However, this actually answers the doubts that always exist in her heart. Dragon 3 found the cloud dance of ecstasy, hasty way, I have never sat wing bird, some not used to, maybe afraid of high. Yes, some people are naturally afraid of heights. Cloud dance convergence from the look, pour a glass of water, a little bit of feed to the Dragon 3 drink. You're so hurt and scared. Have a good rest. When Long San goes to sleep, all the smiles on Yunwu's face disappear. On the other flying beast, Long Qingxie unties his robe and looks at his bloody shoulder, feeling helpless. This little thing is a little too hard. Long Qingxie's mouth is chanting like this. He takes out a bottle of healing medicine from the space ring made by Han Tai and sprinkles it on the wound. The white powder sprinkled on the wound quickly reacted with the naked flesh and blood, and made a stabbing sound. Long Qingxie looked at the tragic situation of the wound, as if it was just someone else's shoulder, someone else's wound. The action of applying the medicine was repeated 3 times. Until the wound began to heal, Long Qingxie put the medicine bottle away. Under the moonlight, you can clearly see his white and beautiful side face with a layer of cold sweat. Obviously, the healing method just now seems to be too heavy for him now. Long Qingxie took a look at the cloud dance not far away. Finally, he took off his strength and lay on his back and fell asleep. The sky is just shining. A touch of black fog rose from the southeast of Xiaoyao town and floated towards the direction of their night stay. When Hayo left the deserted house, Yunwu felt it. The black fog solidified for a moment in front of Yunwu, but finally gave up condensing human form, leaving only a few bottles of medicine, and entered the chaos hall of Yunwu in the form of fog. Cloud Dance looks at those medicine bottles and hears the voice of Black Pride coming from Chaos Hall. The blue cork is for the treatment of soul damage, and the red cork is for the treatment of trauma. For the treatment of trauma, melt 1 pill with a basin of water at a time, and then apply it evenly on the wound of the whole body. Cloud Dance can hear, Black Proud voice is still tight, but how can't figure out, this guy in the end what crazy. Hayo, what's the matter with you? You can tell me what's the matter. If you go on like this, I can only talk to you as little as possible. Black Proud quiet, finally quite angry to say the reason. As the master of this seat, although it's temporary, how can you let a human man bully you so easily? Where is my face? Cloud Dance. This just understand, Black AO yesterday mostly saw the dragon Ching evil bite her. That scene, no wonder Black AO suddenly so strange last night. Hio, there are some things you may not understand. But before I could compete with the dragon, I couldn't get along with him in meaningless places. I was just making trouble for myself. You can let me teach him a lesson. Hio is still not satisfied with this answer. He is now the servant of Yunwoo, but Yunwoo can be bullied by a human at will. What's the difference between this and beating him in the face? Yunwoo's insistence on Hio is not amusing. Well, do you know the information of the Samurai Academy? Do you know the latest news on this continent? Besides refining medicine, can you help me to practice? This time, Hio has been silent for the longest time. For a long time, Yunwoo has never heard any answer from Hio. Yunwoo thinks that her later words may hurt Hio's self-esteem. Looking at the medicine bottle suddenly appeared on the table, Hongling leaned over greedily and wanted to taste it. Hongling, you can't eat this. Yunwoo slaps Hongling's big mouth open and saves Hio's medicine. Red Ling depressed with dissatisfaction, however, but still twists the butt to find the little red snake to play. Cloud Dance, what's that? Cloud Dance turns around and wakes up the dragon. 3 pairs of line of sight, says with a smile, in the Xiaoyao town found some healing medicine, for you to use. Really? Great, Yunwoo, thank you. Long San was also very happy to hear this news. It seems that he was really tortured by the burn that covered his whole body. Playing with the medicine bottle in his hand for a while, Yunwoo looked up at Long San with expectation in his eyes. Long San, I heard the person who gave me the medicine say that this medicine can remove scar and generate muscle. All the burns on your body are caused again this time. If you use this medicine, you should be able to recover a lot. At that time, I can see if you really look the same as you described to Melaying on the bed. Long San's eyes trembled, and his fundus showed a little unnatural. Yes? You're looking forward to seeing what I look like? Yunwoo said with real feelings, of course, I'm looking forward to it. Have you forgotten that we are unmarried? Long San's eyes were a little chatty. He tried to say to Yunwoo, in fact, I can't remember what I look like. You know, I've ruined my appearance very early. At that time, I talked about it with you. I just tried to imagine it with my childhood. Hearing this, Yunwoo put the medicine bottle on the table. Click of a, that move, let Long Three Eyes all follow uneasily shake for a while. Well, I just want to see what you look like. Cloud Dance words pause, in the Dragon 3 inexplicably began to nervous mood, said the second half sentence. Only in this way can I know who will be pursued in the future. Long San's body trembled and his eyes were confused. He looked at the cloud and said, what do you mean? What are you after? Finally, Yunwoo raised his mouth slightly, grabbed the cloth towel on the table, and casually wiped his hand. It's true that the fake is fake, but the fake is fake after all. There are many flaws in how to act like it. When Yan's Dragon 3, at this time finally not quite calm, Cloud Dance, what do you say? What fake? I'm the real Dragon 3. Pala of a white shadow in that instant passed by, see that white towel directly to his that behind of words to interrupt, incidentally, the other party's mouth teeth all pulled out several. The snow-white teeth mixed with saliva and blood, were swept to the ground with cloth like clouds, like a few isolated small stones. My name, you don't deserve to call. Cloud Dance, expressionless face. Although at the beginning, Yunwoo didn't pay much attention to it, but when she came into contact with some small details later, Yunwoo had been puzzled for a long time, but she still lacked a reasonable evidence. Long San has never described his past appearance to Yunwoo, and the biggest point is that since he identified her as a friend, he almost called her by her name, but all of them called her friends. But this Dragon 3, from the beginning to the end, does play a disfigured waist image very well, but it has revealed flaws in the title. The most important thing is that she knows something about the real character of Dragon 3. The real Dragon 3, how can because of Rowolin that kind of person's small means, be scared flustered, let alone almost cry out. After several teeth were knocked out, the fake Dragon 3 lying on the bed howled, obviously in great pain. Now! Another winged bird came near, and Long Qingxie followed the wings of the two winged birds and came here as light as walking on the ground. After seeing Yunwu's cold and calm face and the miserable appearance of Dragon 3, Long Qingxie's mood is obviously better. Little thing, you finally see that this guy is a fake. Smell speech, Cloud Dance eyes slightly narrow up, however, but also think of Dragon Qing evil since catch up, seems to have been intentionally or unintentionally to her to say those hints. It turns out that he already knew the inside story. How did you know he was fake? 99% of this was written by the Queen, but how could the Queen's plan be known? Even if he has a good eye, it's strange, isn't it? Long Qingxie seems to see Yunwu's doubts and conjectures. He raises his mouth and knocks Yunwu's forehead. You little thing, you speak ill of your husband in your heart, don't you? It's not that you insist that the trash is your friend. I want to see what kind of person your friend is. I didn't expect that I didn't send him to hell. Instead, I saved his life. Yunwu's heart has always thought that the real Dragon 3 might be more or less dangerous since he began to have doubts about the fake Dragon 3. I didn't expect that I could hear such a magic turn from the mouth of Long Qingxie. Did he save Long San? With the attitude of Long Qingxie that he would kill the man around her every day, would he also have a sudden kindness? This seems to be a little incredible, and a little incredible. In the face of Cloud Dance's surprise expression, Long Qingxie was in a bad mood. Don't look at Wei Fu like that. If it wasn't for the trouble I didn't want to do for my husband, I would really like to kill him. Cloud Dance smell speech, also put in the heart that surprised guests put away. Forget it, this man's temper is very strange, uncertain, who knows what he is thinking. Cloud Dance glanced at the man and asked, where is Dragon 3 now? Still in the Imperial City. If he is still in the Imperial City, he will die 10 or 8 more times. Long Qingxie said lazily. However, it's a fact. It's impossible for the Queen to live in the Imperial City safely. Come on, don't play the game. Let's go. Where have you been? Long Qingxie's eyes flow, and he sits beside Yunwu. With his long arm extended, he holds Yunwu in his arms. He laughs and asks, what compensation can I give to Wei Fu after I tell you? Cloud Dance turns his head and looks at him with a smile on his face. Are you itching? Do you need me to make it up to you? Then he turned his hand and pushed him away. However, she didn't know that her pushing action was just at the wound of Long Qingxie's shoulder. Dragon Qing Evil slightly frowned, without trace of side body, slow for a while. Little thing, always in such a hurry. Why don't you ask the fake first to see if there is any inside information about this matter? If you satisfy your husband's curiosity, then you will be satisfied. How about that? The hint in Long Qingxie's words made Yunwu really want to slap him. However, it's obvious that the matter of taking out the dragon for evil is not at the top of the list. Yunwu also wants to know why the Queen arranged a fake Dragon 3 to make the play. Thinking about this, Yunwu turned her eyes on the fake who was coward after her teeth were knocked off. Say for yourself, what does the Queen want to do? The fake was surprised, and some of them said, how do you know it's the Queen? Long Qingxie tut. Even if I didn't know before, I'm sure now. The fake looks very regretful and feels that he answers too quickly. After Cloud Dance and asked a few, that fake all clenched their teeth, a word is not going to say. In that case, Cloud Dance is not good at it. A killer who has been trained since he was a child can't get rid of the means of extorting confessions. Yunwu felt a small knife inlaid with gems from the space bracelet. It was very casual and depicted in front of the fake. Anyway, your skin is burned all over now. I'll help you cut off the rotten skin and meat. What do you think? Although the fake was afraid to shrink for a while, it still mattered, a pair of dead mouth. Very good. The cloud dances the corner of the mouth to outline, sneer in, the dagger in the hand, has directly fallen down. Ah! The scream was very bleak. See, that knife is using the slowest speed, from his thigh downward direction, straight cut off the scrape. Although he was wrapped in white gauze, the knife was extremely sharp. In a short time, his flesh and blood would show, and the white bone of his thigh could be seen. Just the right amount. Cloud Dance disliked, grabbed the white cloth on the table, wiped the bloody dagger. The voice said coldly, "This first knife is just to try. It's not sharp. It seems that it's not bad. Let's start from the position of your heart socket. It must be good to see the scene of your heart beating after the flesh is scraped off." With that, the blade in Yunwoo's hand has been transferred to the position of the fake's chest, ready to cut the knife neatly. The fake almost fainted in pain, but at this time, he was still scared and cried with all his strength, "Don't. The action on Cloud Dance's hands stopped, the eye ground is that cold-blooded heartless. She said, "What does the queen want to do? What tasks did she ask you to do, and why did she show me the play of the bodyguard's murderous hand?" The fake looks at the shining blade in Yunwoo's hand and her trembling eyes. The bottom of his heart is the consternation of fear. Is that the rumored waste Miss 9? But obviously, this is not the time to think about it. What the queen wants to do, we who are subordinates don't know. The bodyguards are not acting. That's how the queen arranges them. After a pause, the fake continued, "If we can kill you, we'll all go back, and the queen will heal me. If we can't kill you, I'll continue to lurk around you as Dragon 3, and feed back all the information about you to the queen." In fact, Cloud Dance has guessed this point. However, in order to disguise the Dragon 3 lurking to her side, all his body hurt like this, the queen's heart is also quite abnormal. You are so loyal to the queen that you make yourself look like a ghost with so many lives. How can you be loyal to her? Yunwoo really can't understand these people's ideas. Can Shuelyo, such a vicious master, have these loyal dead men? The fake heard, it seems unable to accept the Cloud Dance to the queen's rebuke, excited retort. What do you know? The queen has her own plans, and she is for the bright future of the world. Bright future? Yunwoo was a little disturbed by the hysterical cry of the fake. What does that mean? Said, that Empress Snow Willow should also be regarded as, that sorcery clan remaining blood, the ability most uncanny person? She even keeps the magic flame, but what's her purpose? Yunwoo frowned. The more she thought about it, the more she felt something was wrong. She pulled the fake from the soft couch. Make it clear. The fake suddenly chuckled for a while. The whole person seemed to be out of his mind and didn't respond to the question of Yunwoo. With a sharp twinkle in his eyes, Long Qingxie took an empty cup from the table and put it on the fake bandage. The porcelain cup, as thin as paper, fell into the muscles injured and festered by the burning fire, and made a puff sound. Ah! Suffered such treatment, that just a pair of proud fake, issued a sad howl, almost no voice. Long Qingxie picked up another cup and shook it in front of him with an evil smile at the corner of his mouth. Not yet. In fact, compared with blood, the method of Cloud Dance becomes softer in front of the man. Seeing this scene, I can't help raising eyebrows to men. It's a bloody monster. The fake repeatedly breathed cold air, looked at the dragon's evil eyes, as if to see the devil, almost completely lost the indomitable fighting spirit. I say. Empress, she wants to rebuild the bright world in the myth. She said that she is the descendant of the ancient Protoss, and we have seen the skill of Empress. It's true. The descendants of the ancient Protoss? Yunwoo thinks that this is probably the best joke she has heard recently. A descendant of the witch clan said that she was a descendant of the ancient Protoss, and the queen was not afraid of boasting too much. At that time, would there really be any Protoss to give her a thunderbolt? Long Qingxie also felt that these people were extremely stupid. She said she was a descendant of the Protoss, so you believe it? That fake goods and inexplicably excited said, we have seen with our own eyes, the queen is really powerful. She can communicate with us in consciousness, she can control our thoughts and actions. Communication in consciousness? Controlling people's thoughts and behaviors? The queen really has some strange skills, but maybe that's the ability of the witch clan. However, Yunwu's body is resurrected, and there is a trace of witchcraft power in his body, but he still knows nothing about the ability of the witches. If Bai Lao had not been sealed, maybe he would not be so passive as he is now. Think of here, Cloud Dance's heart is more sure, must think of a way as soon as possible, see if there is a way to lift the seal for Bai Lao. However, the first thing to be solved is the present situation. As for what the fake said, Yunwu thought, it might be just a special skill, for example, the mind control skill she learned. At the beginning, the Imperial Heart skill was a treasure of the Imperial Palace. It's no surprise that the Queen could learn it. Looking at the fake so excited to protect the Queen, the corner of Cloud's mouth raised with a sneer, communication in consciousness, right? At the moment of language falling, Yunwu's black eyes suddenly flashed, and a strange suction directly met the eyes of the fake. At that moment, the fake's eyes, which were still excited, were emptied, and his whole body could not move. Lock the soul. Although it's the first level of mind control, it's more than enough to fool this fake. However, after the fake's eyes became Muna, Yunwu tried the second layer of mind control for the first time, control. Close your eyes and precipitate your consciousness. Fortunately, after the bloody destruction of Yunwu and Longqingxi, this fake's consciousness has long been in a state of panic. Therefore, Yunwu's overbearing consciousness has successfully controlled his consciousness. However, if you want to control his behavior, Yunwu can feel it. It's not enough. So, there is no next step. In a moment, Yunwu opens her eyes again, and then she sees the other party looking at herself in horror. Her eyes are filled with despair that her world outlook has been completely shattered. No, it's impossible. No, it won't be. The fake said over and over again in disbelief. He couldn't accept the fact. If the Queen is not a descendant of the Protoss, then what is the purpose of what he did? He's a ghost now. He can't be regarded as a person at all. Cloud Dance quite indifferent looking at him, for his situation at this time, no sympathy. However, it was from him that he saw the Queen Xuelyo. She was really cruel enough to do things. For such a loyal person, she could do it with her heart. This also shows that the Queen even killed her, so with her temperament, she will never give up. She wants to be stronger. During this period, she must be stronger. She will never allow her to be passive one day when she meets her face to face. All of a sudden, Yunwu felt a murmur in her mind. The murmur became stronger and stronger. She finally heard it clearly. Saint, help us, go to the temple, call the temple. This sudden sound, let Cloud Dance brain severe pain up. Summon the temple. Is it the legendary place on the incomplete map? What's going on? Pain. It's too painful. I thought that forbearance would soon pass away, but then I was attacked by a burning pain, and almost didn't give Yunwu the chance to react. In front of my eyes, it was black, and I fainted in the arms of Long Qingxie. When she woke up, she found that she was lying in the arms of Long Qingxie. Long Qingxie touched her forehead and took a cloth to wipe the cold sweat off her forehead. Little thing, what's the matter with you? How can you suddenly faint? Yunwu rubbed his head, and it seemed that he could still feel the residual pain before, but it was much better than before. Nothing. All of a sudden, it's just a headache. Dragon Qingxia is tiny squint eyes, fingertips hook up her jaw, little thing, you are not good at lying. Cloud Dance white eye he, poke away his that stir up her chin hand, helpless way, I tell the truth you don't believe, that regard as is, these days with you for a long time, be angry by you. However, In Yunwoo's mind at this time, she couldn't help thinking about the sentence she heard in her mind asking for help. That voice is clearly the voice of the sacred fire of the witch clan. But what happened? Why do you always ask her for help? Also, what's going on with the Call Temple? Is the holy fire of the witch clan in that mysterious calling temple? Although it's been a while since she got the incomplete treasure map of the summoning temple, the other 11 incomplete maps are scattered all over the place. Even if she wants to go there, she can't do anything for the time being. However, according to the records in the Dragon Scroll, one of the incomplete pictures, if there is no mistake, is in the Shinwang Samurai Academy. And this is one of the main reasons why Cloud Dance proposed to go to Shinwang Samurai Academy to Zhou Badian. Maybe we can ask Hyo sometime. After all, he seems to be familiar with the witch clan. Yunwoo sat up from Long Qingxi's arms. The necklace around her neck slipped out of her lapel. She looked at the arc and lost her mind for a moment. Do you want to ask Hyo how to wake up? As soon as this idea appeared, it was dispelled by Cloud Dance. There is only a master-servant contract between her and Hyo as mutual restriction. For some things, you'd better leave some cards for her. Only when everyone cannot figure out how many cards she has, her chances of winning will be greater and she will live longer. What's more, at the beginning, that Black AO seemed to be very angry with the witches, which made him try to wake up the witches' spirits. I don't know if he will have another twists and turns. At this time, Cloud Dance raised eyes to see a soft collapse, found that there was no one there. Even the brocade was replaced with a new one. What about the fake? I was so excited that I went crazy. I threw him away for my husband. This high in the air left a disabled waist, that person must have fallen into a pile of mud. Cloud Dance listened to Dragon pour heresy, throw away a person and throw away a piece of garbage almost, for a moment also have nothing to say. However, this man has never covered up his bloody and merciless means, but even so, it can also give people a sense of taking it for granted, which is not offensive. This should be the real evil spirit of this man. Yunwoo looked under the flying beast and found that they had left Xiaoyao town and were flying above the official road. Now, can you tell me where you got the real Dragon 3? Dragon Qing evil smell speech, handsome face seems to pass a trace of dissatisfaction. Wei, you little thing, you open your eyes to ask is all other men, how can't care about for husband. Cloud Dance see his aggrieved appearance, haha Wei, when you want to die, I will also ask a sentence. Long Qingxia narrowed a pair of eyes, bowed his head in the Cloud Dance ear tip and bit it with his teeth. You heartless little thing. Yunwoo was bitten by Dragon Qingxia and trembled all over. He felt a burst of heat on his face and a touch of unnatural shyness on his eyes. However, his action was faster than his head, and he kicked the dragon with one foot. Dragon Qingxia holds Cloud Dance's wrist and says with an ambiguous smile, Tut, can't wait to flirt with her husband? Cloud Dance slowly over God, feel he was angry just shy and smoke away. Long Qingxia, can you stop fooling around and get down to business? Long Qingxia means to let go of Yunwoo's wrists and hold her in his arms instead. No matter how Yunwoo struggles, she just keeps her back against his hot chest. What's the point, isn't it the whereabouts of that rubbish? Don't worry. I'm not interested in saving people and killing them again. Weifu has sent someone to send him to the King Warrior Academy in advance. In time, he will be there before you, really. Yunwoo doesn't believe that Long Qingxia is so kind. Let's not say whether he will keep Long Sanyi alive or not, but according to the character that Long Qingxia usually shows, how do you think it's likely to torture Long San? Little thing, you are so sad for your husband. It's you who repeatedly emphasize that it's your friend and say that you want to work hard for that rubbish and for your husband. Why don't you believe in being a husband when you let her go for her now? Long Qingxia pretends to roll up his sleeve and stick it in the corner of his eyes. When other men do this, it can definitely make Yunwoo feel sick with goosebumps. I don't know if it's the handsome face of Long Qingxia. It's really disgusting. Inexplicable, Yunwoo seems to really see the grievance. Yunwoo was scared out of goosebumps by her reaction. Well, put away your disgusting action, I believe you are. Since you knew that Dragon 3 was fake, why didn't you say it earlier? Long Qingxie said, there are some things that you need to find out by yourself. After that, I went to the King Warrior Academy. I can't help you anymore. Yunwoo thought that his reason was reasonable, so she didn't ask him anymore. Hongling waited for a long time, but no one paid any attention to it. Seeing that Yunwoo was okay, she couldn't be lonely. Master, I'm so hungry. He would rather throw that man down than give it to me just now. Cloud Dance think of that fake all over the body of the wound, in the heart is also don't want to let Hongling to eat. It's one thing to cook clean food with complete appearance. It's a bit disgusting just to think of food that is sloppy and bloody. Looking at Hongling, Cloud Dance scolded, Hongling, I said, don't you want to eat people? If you go to the Samurai Academy with her and still think about cannibalism, I'm afraid before she finds the map and learns some skills, everything will be spoiled by it. Oh. Hongling is a little aggrieved. She shakes her big head, but she is hungry. Long Qingxie looks at the ferocious appearance of Hongling's bloody fangs, and puts on the posture of being bullied. He really can't see it anymore. Go on. He took out a small bamboo tube from the ring, poured out 2 pills from it and threw them directly into Hongling's mouth. Hongling has always been willing to accept food, not to mention 2 small pills. For it is almost the same as non-existence. Cloud Dance is frightened by the action of Long Qingxie's feeding Hongling medicine. He grabs his hand and doesn't let him feed again. What did you give Hongling? Let it not be hungry all the time. It's made from big shirgua. Long Qingxie poured another pill and handed it to Yunwoo, indicating that she would eat it. By the way, I explained to her the general effect of dashigu. Cloud Dance glances at the small medicine bowl, but doesn't feel that Long Qingxie will use a pill to harm her. If one day Long Qingxie really wants to get rid of her, he can just do it. With the strength she showed in front of Long Qingxie, I'm afraid she didn't let him really pay attention. However, I'm interested in that big fruit. If I eat one, I can spend 10 days without eating. It seems that when she is free, she has to prepare some of these good things herself. At least, she doesn't have to worry about food in the future. Little thing, this afternoon, I will take you into the Warcraft forest for my husband. A month later, I will send you to the King Warrior Academy. Cloud Dance listened to Long Qingxie say, just remember when Long Qingxie asked to go with them, the reason is to train her to improve strength. Now, she really needs to improve her strength as soon as possible. In a month, how much can I improve my strength? The longer Yunwoo stays in this alien world, the clearer one thing is that the cultivation in this world is not so simple. Many people's cultivation has made slow progress for several years. And she, because of the constant fortune, but in a short period of 3 months, reached the 7th level of strength. Of course, the pain she endured was unimaginable. If she really relies on normal cultivation, she will be curious about how much strength she can improve in the next month. It's no surprise that Long Qingxie hears Daenwu's question. He smiles mysteriously and gives Yunwoo an explanation. If it's someone else, it's just a blink of an eye in a month, which doesn't have much effect. However, if you train yourself for your husband, you can really improve yourself. As for how much you can improve, it depends on how much you can suffer. Yunwoo thought of Hyo and said to her that there is no real shortcut for cultivation. Only by insisting on it can we achieve the right path. Now it can be regarded as two-phase confirmation when it is put together with the saying of Dragon's inclination to evil. With the expectation of strength improvement in a month, Yunwoo's face is particularly firm. Do you think there's anything I can't eat? Now there are a lot of worries, just a Queen Shuelyo, which makes her so embarrassed. If the mysterious master behind the housekeeper Wu Gang turns the spearhead at her again, then it seems that she needs to improve her strength as soon as possible. And as long as she can improve her strength, let alone suffering, she can survive even if she suffers. Xiaoyao Town is less than 3 days away from Warcraft Forest. But these 3 days, all the way did not stop. Cloud Dance has been meditating and concentrating, cultivating the power to stabilize the spirit. These 3 days also passed quickly. At the beginning, Yunwu thought that Dragon Qingxie would take her directly to the hinterland of Warcraft Forest. As a result, the dragon fell to the ground with her at a distance from the Warcraft Forest. Yunwu sees that Dragon Qingxie makes several gestures to the 2 winged birds and releases them. He thinks that Dragon Qingxie should let them fly back to the Dragon Pavilion by themselves. Of course, the side of the Red Ling is drooling watching the food fly away. It is very want to eat, but, since eating that dragon poor evil to give what pill, its stomach is really not hungry, but, it is deprived of it want to tear food that kind of pleasure and delicious. So, it was determined that it would never eat what the man gave it. Cloud Dance looked at the lush forest not far away, and asked the dragon, "How can I go next?" "Change your face first, and then find an exploration team to enter Warcraft Forest." Cloud Dance some accident to the dragon poor evil way, we are not to enter the Warcraft Forest to cultivate. Those exploration teams are nothing more than a group of people going into the forest, or a group of mercenaries going to hunt Warcraft and collect resources. Does he want her to follow those teams and do the task? Long Qingxie ignores the problem of Cloud Dance and looks at Hung Ling by touching his chin. Cloud Dance also realized that no matter how to enter the Warcraft Forest, with Hung Ling around, it is absolutely too high profile and conspicuous. Long Qingxie thought about it and said to the cloud, "Little thing, you have a try. Put this little monster in your space bracelet. Is that okay?" Yunwu has always thought that only dead objects can be put in. After all, she has never heard of space objects that can survive. As a result, Long Qingxie shrugged irresponsibly. "I just want you to have a try, but I don't guarantee that you will succeed." Smell speech, Cloud Dance forehead black line wind up, "You this irresponsible suggestion, after less use." Red Ling a listen to, although don't quite understand, but feel at present this man is again giving its host a bad idea, and this time the goal is it. Suddenly, he said angrily, "You are a bad man. You make up your mind. Believe it or not, I ate you." Dragon Qing evil light saw Red Ling's sharp tooth tusk one eye, didn't put this small monster's threat on the heart. However, Cloud Dance turns to think, space bracelet may not work, but Chaos Palace may try. Before, the Chaos Hall can automatically inhale Xianyuan fruit trees into the hall. Hung Ling can be regarded as a planting object. Maybe it's no problem. However, Yunwu thought about it for a while and decided to try something first. Who knows, even if you enter the Chaos Palace, there will be no reaction. Hung Ling, go and catch a rabbit. Don't kill it. Yes, master. Hey, don't talk to my master again, or I'll eat you when I come back. Hung Ling angrily points the huge bud head, grins at the dragon, and then takes the little red snake to find the rabbit. Taking advantage of this time, Dragon Qingxie and Cloud Dance each changed another face. Long Qingxie became a tall hunter with a rough face, while Yunwu became an ordinary young man. When Hung Ling came back with the rabbit, at first sight, they both couldn't react. "I ran into the hotel and felt it carefully before I was sure that I didn't find the wrong owner. Master, I got the rabbit." It stretched out 2 arms like flower vines, and took the rabbit to Yunwu, who was trembling with great fright. Yunwu looks at the small rabbit in his eyes. This is a kind of creature. I don't know if he can enter the Chaos Hall. While thinking about it, Yunwu tried to put the rabbit on the space bracelet. In fact, in the case of concealing people's eyes and ears, he threw it directly into the Hall of Chaos, which is connected with consciousness. As usual, Hayo was in a daze in the Chaos Hall. Suddenly, a rabbit came down from the sky and scared him. Yunwu soon heard the question from the Chaos Hall. "What's going on?" "Hayo, can you help me see if the rabbit is still alive?" Black proud and white rabbit big eyes stare small eyes for a while, make sure the rabbit in addition to scared not light, there is no other problem. To live is to be scared to death. Cloud dance doesn't know whether to cry or laugh. The rabbit is really pitiful. There are so many rabbits in the world, and it is estimated that none of them has such rich experience as it. Hongling looks at Yunwoo. The bloody mouth hasn't been closed. It seems to be waiting. Yunwoo can throw the little rabbit into its mouth. But Cloud danced to Red Ling Wei, this period of time, I put you in the space first, wait for a period of time to put you out again. Make room. Hongling smell speech, at first did not react to come over, can wait to slow down, seem to be gassed to like. You disgusting villain, it's you who give the master bad advice. The big mouth of the tusk is open, and he wants to bite the dragon. But he was stopped by Cloud dancing. Don't be ridiculous. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.